Right, good evening everyone, and welcome back once again. It's some more Suzerain this evening. Let's get off the menu music, it's a bit loud and dramatic for my liking, you know what I mean. The more peaceful game music. Right, let me first of all kick off my slippers, cause we've got some business to take care of, I'm sure, this evening. So we might as well get ourselves nice and chilled out. Anyway, good evening all, welcome. Good to see familiar faces. Nice haircut, thank you. Thank you. It's well, obviously, I'm off on holiday next Tuesday. Don't know if I mentioned it 50,000 times, but I am. So I rung the barbers, and our barbers is quite difficult to get an appointment for. The one that's just up the road from where I live. Very popular, very famous. Have been on the go for 30 years. So I rung them today thinking, oh, I've left it a bit late. I said, have you got any appointments before next Monday? And he says, oh yeah, we've got 3 appointments. I said, well, when's the earliest one? Thinking, maybe Friday, Thursday, something like that. He said, 2 o'clock this afternoon. And this was at 12 today. I was perfect. Book me in. So that was a slice of good fortune. So my hair's just been lopped off, ready for my holiday. But yeah, it's kind of weird because this is probably a little bit too short, to be honest with you, compared to normal. I could have it a little bit longer, but it is what it is. By the time it comes to me holiday next week, it'll have grown a little bit and it'll be perfectly fine. But yeah, so literally just before the stream, hence why I'm about 5 minutes late, is because I decided that now is the day for me to start getting the clothes out. So I've got all my shorts out, all my holiday shorts, all my holiday clothes that I tend to only wear on holiday, shirts. So yeah, I've got my jeans out, I've got my shorts out, I've got my t-shirts out, my nice t-shirts, kind of polo-y shirts, and my shirts out. I mean, I'm only going for 7 days, and it is yes to Geese, it is to Turkey. So I don't need like umpteen thousand garments like if you're going on a cruise for 2 weeks. So it's very easy. It's taking me 15 minutes into the wardrobes. I'll have that, I'll have this, I'll have the other. Poof, done. Because this holiday, I'm not buying a damn thing. It's for 7 days. I went shopping for Mexico and got a few little bits, added it to my collection. So for 7 days, I've got enough clothes to be able to go to Turkey with without having to spend another penny. So I've got all my shoes, my sliders, my pumps. I've got it all. So a week in advance, this is probably the earliest that I've ever been this prepared. My case will be packed pretty much. Underwear, socks, underwear, all ready to go. So all that I've got left to get out now is the daytime t-shirts, like the lightweight t-shirts that you just lounge about in, lay by the pool with, in kind of just like really nice and light. Take and maybe about 3 or 4 jumpers, because it is going to potentially, if the weather cooperates, going to be about 20 degrees and sunny in the daytime, which is warm. Enough to lounge in t-shirts by the pool, but in the evening it might be a bit nippy, so I just need to take some backup warmer clothing just in case I need to slip something over if it's a bit nippy, so I'll take about 4 jumpers, I think. But other than that, I'm stress free. If I get everything done by Wednesday, Thursday, so that I don't even have to worry about packing a case anywhere near next week, it'll be like bliss. I've even got the travel money ordered yesterday. I thought this holiday I'm going to do it all early, do everything in advance, because normally I'm last minute lil, but no, all the papers have been printed out, money's being ordered. Case will be ready by about Wednesday, Thursday at the very latest, so that when it comes to this weekend, I'm not scrabbling about for things. I can just enjoy my weekend this weekend, and then next Monday, I'm actually working next Monday. I'm flying Tuesday morning at the crack of dawn. I'm actually working next Monday. So there's no last minute bits to do, hopefully, because I won't have time to do them really. I just want to be finishing work early Monday, round about 1ish, 2ish, and then opening a rum or two, sipping away, maybe even stream, who knows, next Monday, and ease my way into my holiday. That's what I want to be doing, rather than the usual thing, which is scrabbling around for this paper, this, that, but last minute this, last minute that. No. So all of my plugs, my travel plugs for European connections, and all of the stuff that you take alongside, my speaker, my Bluetooth speaker, my hip flasks, everything. I'm going to get it all done in advance. So there you go. Hello, Rod. Welcome. This has become the highlight of my week. Only joking. Oh, don't be joking. I expect this to be the highlight of most of your weeks. Seriously, What else have you got to look forward to other than sit here and listen to me babble on? So I'm flying next Tuesday. How many shoes is my mum taking? Well, this is the catastrophe, you see, because I'm a tight Yorkshireman. When we're flying with Jet2, where you've got to pay for your case, I refuse to pay for 2 cases because it's about 70 quid to pay for a case. I'm like, whoa, what are you going for a week? How about we take 2 hand luggages, 2 handbags, and 1 case? Should be plenty for a week. So there's 1 case. I think it's about 20 kilos, 21, 23, I don't know, 20 kilos probably. 2 hand luggages. So, 15 pairs of shoes. Can't be done, I'm afraid. Can't be done. I'll be taking 5. I'm taking my boots, taking my trainers, taking my pumps, taking my beach shoes, and taking some sliders. 5 pairs, which is for me, even a lot. That's a lot even for me. That's it. Easy peasy. 5 pairs. Every occasion sorted. Because my trainers can be worn in an evening, because they're quite smart trainers. If I don't want to put my heavy clumpy boots on, if I want to look a bit smart, I can put my boots on. If I don't want to look smart, I put my trainers on. If I want to look really, really kind of hipstery, I can rock up to the dinner table in my sliders, can't I? My fire trap shorts and my sliders in the buffet restaurant. It'll be fine. I am not a wear a slider to evening meal kind of person, I'll tell you that much. But anyway, for jumpers for Turkey sounds a little bit much. Won't it be like 20 degrees there? Yes, in the daytime. But then you've got to think about it's the night time. It's not going to be like 20 degrees in the night time. It's going to be probably a bit nippy in the night time because it's not summer. So I'm thinking more to do with the evening. And 2 weeks ago, it was 10 degrees, not 20, for about 3-4 days in a row. So, I will check the weather forecast literally before I go to make sure that it's the closest weather forecast that I can get to when we're going. But it can take a turn for the worst at this time of year. It's not guaranteed to be 20, and the evenings can be nippy. I've been told by people that have gone to Turkey at this time. So it's better to be prepared than to end up in a situation like I did when I went to Norway and was very underprepared for the situation and had to buy clothes out there. That being said, I will probably be buying clothes out in Turkey because apparently you can get some really, 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 really good knockoff gear. As in your branded kind of Tommy Hilfigers, your fancy designer tops and stuff. Of course not real, but damn good fakes. I've been told by, again, people that have been to Turkey several times. You want to get your Chanel handbags for 10, 15 euros, this is the place to get them. So I probably missed a trick here and probably should have paid the £70 for a second 20 kilogram case just to put all the knockoff gear in to bring it back and sell it. That's what I should have done if I'd thought properly. Get stopped by customs. This is all for personal use, officer. What, 20 kilograms? Yes. Of the same shirt? Yes. I've got a bit of OCD. I have to wear the same shirt every day. Dearie me. Just don't let anyone give you a new set of teeth. There is a little joke about this set of teeth situation. I'll save that perhaps for another time. Good old turkey teeth. Yes. But apparently if you do want implants, it's the place to go to get your implants done. Half the price of over here. It's about 20 grand to get a set of implants over here. If you want, implants in your teeth, in your mouth, you can probably get them for about 8 grand over there. It's quite a significant saving. But hey ho, you run the risk of coming back with your mouth all jiggered. I've seen those programs where people get cosmetic surgeries done and it's gone wrong and they have to get it fixed. It's not good. Not good at all. Anyway, there you go. It's 7:15 and time to start playing. So I thought today I would start my stream at the former time. I used to start all my streams at 7. I've started going towards sort of 7:30, 8ish nowadays to give me a bit more time after work to get some stuff done. But I thought today I'm going to start early because we've got stuff to do, and I was in the mood to crack on. So also we have DLC coming out at the back end of March for this game, and I would like to start playing that pretty sharpish, as close to its release date as possible. So it'd be good to finish this campaign if we can before I go on holiday in a week's time. Clearly not going to happen, but we'll see what we can do. 25th, so it's coming out when I'm on holiday. I'm coming back on the 20. Hang fire. I'm coming back on the 26th. So yeah, it'll be out the day before I come back. So at least that Sunday, maybe the 28th, 9th-ish, I could probably start it if I finished this before then, which is not going to happen, I don't think. But we'll see. We'll see. You never know. I might get popped off unexpectedly this week. Who knows? Cheap American dentists are better than the expensive ones. Yeah. Who's to say that expensive anything is actually worth the money that you're paying, eh? Who says it? Just because it's expensive doesn't mean it's good. Right, well, where we left off last time, I seem to recall, did we look at the news? I think we read all of this last time. Yeah, Geralt of Rivia. Yep, Dandelion Wine, I remember that. Energy prices have stabilised, and a member of the Assembly was arrested, taking part in some kind of young sword nonsense. Of course, we ripped the painting. Well, we didn't. It was Lucian's fault. Ripped the painting off the school wall of Tarquin Soll, caused a right uproar, it did. And we've got some wider world news, which I never really take great interest in, which is really ridiculous thing to say when you're the leader of a country, isn't it? Because you should really be up to speed with all diplomatic affairs. But hey, if we have one weakness as a president, it's that foreign affairs bore us to death. When our own country is in the mire, who gives a crap what's happening elsewhere? And you know, at least if I need to find out about something, I will be told about it by my advisors rather than have to sit and read umpteen damn reports about the damn situations. Anyway, what's this, for example? This is the CSP, the Contana Security Pact, that's the one, has called for the dissolution of the Mifteam International Trade Zone. This strategic location in Morellan territory, and complemented by a strategically vital port, has been the joint venture of Riesian, Morellan, Lespian and Valsland state corporations since the pre-revolutionary era. Yet the recent ascension of Alma Sultana to the premiership of Morella has sparked a seismic shift in this arrangement. With staunch backing from Valsland, Prime Minister Sultana has declared intentions to nationalise the mines and port, a move that potentially upends the status quo and alters the trajectory of the region's economic future. This move directly challenges the interests of Riesian Royal Gold, and by extension, King Romus Taurus of Riesia. Ooh. Okay, a bit of tension brewing there, perhaps. Invest in business. Well, we have invested in business to some degree. Small businesses, we have give them tax breaks. The large businesses, though, they stick two fingers up to them. Pew, pew, pew. Right, where are we? Okay. Yeah, we read this one, didn't we? Yes, we did. little Easter egg to Witcher, to the Witcher series here. Right. So yeah, I seem to recall that we left off ready to click on this one, which was basically a briefing on the proposal of the educational reforms, a topic that is very, very close to our heart, of course, given we have pledged our priority to improving our education. So here we go. Our first order of business today. So here we are in Leiren, staying at a modest guest house for state employees. Chiara set up a meeting with me and Lucian to go over her plans for education reform after our school visit. That went so very well. It was like a flipping military academy, wasn't it? We were still in Leiren. Yeah, there we go. Lucian was sitting across from me at the table, going through documents, and Chiara entered the room. After the visit yesterday, I couldn't even sleep thinking about that little boy and girl. I have never been more sure of my intentions to reform our education system. Lucian took off his reading glasses and put it on the table. Put them on the table, I should imagine. But yes, education reform is indeed necessary. Exactly. Those students have to repeat that same Sollist propaganda every single day. They are being brainwashed at an age when their minds need to be free. On top of that, young girls are denied the same opportunity as boys. They're forced into the role of housewife before they even reach puberty. Nothing's changed since I went to school. Women like me, Lilius, Nia, even your wife, we had to study twice as hard to receive the same university education that you and Lucian took for granted. Is that the kind of country you want your daughter to grow up in? See you later, Ollie. Mr. President, we need to bring change. We need to free the minds of these young people. They are our future. Okay, well, no, everything is not fine, clearly. So, what have you got on your mind, Chiara? We need to keep politics out of the curriculum. Soll should only be viewed as a historical figure. Children shouldn't have to repeat his name every day. This is actively poisoning young bright minds. Instead of thinking for themselves, they're learning to take things at face value. We also need to ensure boys and girls receive the same instruction. Handcrafts like knitting and sewing should be taught to both sexes, or not at all. Swordland's youth must be technically skilled and capable for the next decade. That won't be possible with the amount of nationalistic indoctrination and narrow-minded thinking found in schools today. Either we raise a generation ready for the challenges of the future, or not. What will it be, Mr. President? Well, I'm in agreement, but we'll check in with Lucian. We'll check in with Lucian. What do you think, Lucian? As much as I respect Colonel Soll, his time has passed. Now is our time. I do think this might be the first step of a larger plan. Right, well in that case, reform, 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 I say. It's been the mantra of our tenure so far, change and reform. Let's continue to do that, shall we? I think a new education is a good thing. Everybody's taught everything. Free minds, of course. The bright minds, the scientists. Look at that little girl, for bless her. She wants to be a scientist. Who's to say that she couldn't be the best scientist known to man and woman in the future, if she's allowed to be? Reform. You will not regret it. I will get to work immediately. Now that the decision was made, let's move on. Very well. She skims over her documents before continuing. After the budget increase, the ministry quickly began formulating plans on how to effectively use the money. But before moving forward, the question of keeping education fully state-funded or allowing for new private schools remains open. Okay, well, I mean, I don't really like the concept of private schools, but hey, let's see what our advisors think. Tell us of any potential benefits of this private school situation. I made my opinion clear. I'm against it, but it would give us additional funds for education while increasing competition. It would go against planned economy, of course, and a bit more deliberation. We have enough money, to improve education in Swordland. We do not need to complicate things further with a privatisation incentive. So, what's your decision? Competition, quality, privatisation of education. I'm not so sure. I'm not so sure. In fact, I am sure. I don't like the thought. I don't like the sound. I don't like it. Personally. Yes. No. No. If there's one thing that we're going to keep in the state's hands, it's the education. Privatise other things perhaps. We are drip feeding in, a bit more of this kind of free market stuff eventually, but when it comes to education, we're keeping it state. We don't want anything to do with making money. We don't want anybody in it for the profits. We don't want any access to the best education to be given to those with the most money. We don't want any of that going on. So it could lead to certain quality increases, I suppose, but no. Ultimately, we don't want any private interests getting their claws into our education for anything other, for any misguided reasons. I just think of Walter Tusk's face comes into our head, when we're mulling this over. Do you want him involved in education? Mr. Fat Cat just in it for money? Of course we don't. Hello, Hauler, welcome. So, education, solely a matter of the state. Excellent. We shall indeed press on with that mantra. That should be it for now. I will get to work and report back later. This has indeed been a very productive day. I will be returning to Whole Sword. So, Tarquin Soll's picture under his arm. Right. Well, thank you both for your time. We dispersed after spending nearly the entire day together. I took a moment simply to breathe the fresh air of Lyran. It felt calmer here somehow, but I would have to return to the chaos of Whole Swords soon enough. Oh, we've got a nice little trip out. How about we go to Benfey? Nice seaside retreat. Spend a couple of days there. We should have come with the kids and the wife. Although we're in the wife's bad books massively, aren't we, at the moment? But, bring the kids. Holiday trip to Benfey. Spend, a good handful of days. Recharge the batteries before coming back and clamping down on our party because we need to pass this flipping constitution. Don't we already have private schools? I don't think it was Gus. I think it was actually... Wasn't it Sergei? Sergei that wanted to send his daughter to some kind of educational institute? And I don't know if it was private or whether it was higher education maybe that you had to pay for rather than mandatory education perhaps. Yeah, it was Sergei, yeah. Oh, and that's what John's just said. I think it was a higher education thing rather than a mandatory education. How can you forget Sergei? Although in my playthrough, Sergei's not had to do much because we haven't put ourselves in too much danger. In a playthrough that I was watching alongside this, when we were on the steps, with the workers over in Narbel, and we actually vacated when the trouble hit the fan, the other person didn't. And Sergei sprang into action. I was like, oh my god. But thankfully, we have given our Sergei an easy ride so far because we're quite savvy when it comes to personal protection, apparently. I mean, we did walk through the park with our wife, but they followed closely in their motorcade and everything was fine. We haven't met with the right and left yet. I think it's coming very imminently. And this is quite big. This is really big. This could be make or break. And I was thinking about it before the stream started. I was thinking to myself, why did I rip the damn paint or order the painting to be ripped off? It's being put in the papers. That's not going to go down well with the right wing of our party. We have kept Soll immune. That was one of the concessions of the constitution that we made for the good of the party's right wings, to try to be a bit tactical on that. But, you know, ripping his painting down from the school and being plastered all over the paper doing it might be an issue. We'll see. Right, welfare. Education reform is underway. So we're removing nationalistic indoctrination. This move reflects a shift towards fostering free thought and critical thinking among students, intellectual exploration, and a more inclusive educational atmosphere. I mean, it all sounds fantastically beautiful, doesn't it? Modernised education techniques. Look at that. We're a modern education society. The educational system is undergoing significant reforms. Traditional teaching methods are being curbed. The overall goal is to improve the quality of education, making it more relevant and effective for students. So we are introducing new technology and teaching methodologies, as well as the development of a new curriculum and instructional materials. Oh, we like the sound of that. We like the sound of that. So this inconsistent curriculum will hopefully disappear, and we'll have a well-balanced, well-rounded, equal curriculum for both boys and girls that utilises modern technologies, new techniques, and harnesses their creative powers, you know, their creative, what's the word I'm looking for? Potential. The creative potential. The brilliance of young minds will shine through and not be, you know, suppressed by the current curriculum as was. Do we have an idea as to per capita GDP? No, not a clue. I mean, I don't think it tells us anywhere, to be honest with you. I think this is still the same numbers. There is actually, when you click on these cities, you get GDP and GDP ranking, but that's based on. I think is that based on that? Is this based on anything other than your own cities? I don't think so. If it is, then the Shaven should be probably first. Yeah, so it's based on your own cities. Right, where are we? Oh, for God's sake, this blasted world news. Right, a significant technological milestone. Oh, they have launched a second satellite capable of facilitating radio communications. Space-based comms tech. No other nation, including the old Arcasia, currently possesses this advanced capability, marking a significant achievement for the United Contana. Oh, that's good news, isn't it? Good news for the Contana people. And the flipping hell. So, I'm literally in a rare occasion going to football on Wednesday. It's very rare. But I put my name down because I'm trying to get my last exercise in before Tuesday. Right. 2 items of news. We have the Lashaven Times. Kibbener. Rain is making a mistake. Head of Swordland's second opposition party, the National Front Party, Casaro Kibbener has said President Rain will not be able to keep ruling the country without addressing policies that have negatively affected our security, culture and economy. He blamed President Rain for not being open to any discussions about proper reforms. Kibbener also criticised PIF leader Franz Richter for supporting President Rain. NFP cannot be part of this nonsensical collaboration anymore, as it has been transformed into an anti-nationalist committee. said Kibbener. He also explained his concerns over how Pifjib supported Arcasian imperialism and only cared about profit at the expense of the Swordish people. So I think this is perhaps NFP withdrawing any support for our constitutional reforms right now. Rain is making a mistake by working together with Richter, said Kibbener, and criticised the committee for not discussing the real issues that surround Swordland. Like what, Kibbener? What real issues are we not addressing right now? Education is being addressed. We're upgrading infrastructure. We're doing deals with energy companies. You know, we're trying to tackle the situation with the riots. The hell? You know, we're tackling a lot of issues as they come across our doors. You know, we've just basically given hundreds of millions of people better rights to work, safer work, minimum wage. What else, Casaro Kibbener, are we not addressing? Hey? I ask you. It's the things that you clearly want to bring to the table in a very selfish manner that we're not addressing. So you're basically throwing all your toys out the pram, Mr. Kibbener, if you ask me. But hey, who am I but just the president? Demonstrators arrested. Tens of thousands of demonstrators were driven out from city centres by riot police in the week. Okay, we're not doing a good job with the riots, unfortunately, but hey, we're working on that. We'll have to tell Lilius to get her flipping finger out. Too busy moaning and whining about how we're not doing things the Soll way, instead of actually clamping down on what the hell is happening on the streets. He wants us to suppress the Bluedish rebels. You see, my mantra, if it's even a slim possibility, is to better integrate the Bluedish people, make them feel more welcome and less likely to want to rebel in the first place. They're rebelling because we treat them like downtrodden people. That's why they're rebelling right now. You know, welcome them, bring them in, offer an olive branch, give them the same rights as everybody else, and perhaps they wouldn't see a need to have to kick off every 5 minutes. I don't know. That's my thinking anyway. In an ideal world, perhaps not possible, but we shall certainly take the chance if it comes up. Right. Protests are under control. Right, well, yeah, with brute force at the moment, unfortunately. Our police are not well known for their human rights behaviours. But, for heaven's sake. We have Ministry of Education has started work on education reform. Minister of Education, Chiara Walder, is reporting that she has begun working on the approved education reform. The details of the education reform will be finalised over the upcoming months. If the reform package is accepted, the next steps of this process will be to discuss the indoctrination of education, which we are going to remove at the earliest opportunity. So bring it on is what I say. Right. Grooney Rural Development Investment. A regional rural development proposal to improve agriculture, which probably involves spending money that we don't have. But we are a man that has come from a rural background. Our family were farmers, so we feel a certain connection to people in the rural areas, and therefore, even if it does take us into -2 debt, we will probably fund whatever it is happening here. Oh, Jesus Christ. Oh, no. I say that until I see how much it's going to cost us. Right, Grooney Rural Development Investment. The Grooney Rural Development Investment is a proposal by Rural Development Minister Gus Manger, who's been working on this for some time. Oh, John, sorry. I know, John, I know. But unfortunately, we have to play a balancing act with the old budget. As much as we want to do these kind of things, we have to prioritise the budget. And right now, the budget is saying, help me! I am, crying out for mercy. If it's as easy as we must or we want to do that, we'd be clicking subsidise for new farms, and that will be the end of the matter. And apparently it got tougher in later versions. In the earlier versions, apparently it was a little bit easier. But as they've patched it and tweaked it and got it to this state, apparently it's harder now than it was when it first came out to manage the budget, which is great for me, playing it this late, isn't it? I'm playing it in hard mode, apparently. Oh, lamb biryani and paneer. Chan, stop it. For a start, I haven't eaten yet, and I'm rather peckish because it's that time of night. Second of all, lamb. You know I love lamb. It's my favourite meat. You know that because I say it all the time. You know I love paneer, and you know I love spinach curries as well. And you're having it all on the same plate or in the same meal, which is like literally heaven on earth for me. And there you are. Just, I'd eat that and devour all that instantaneously if that was put in front of me right now. But anyway, I hope you're enjoying it, sir. Right, let's see what's going down here. So yeah, Gus has spent time drawing all this together. So for me to turn around to Gus and say, hang on, pal, see you later, nothing, we can't afford any of it, would have been a colossal waste of his time. So given the fact that we are, you know, sympathetic to the rural regions, and also the fact that Gus has spent time and effort doing this, we are going to spend some money on this. How much is to be determined, but I've got a sneaking suspicion we probably can't afford -2. But -1 we probably can. So anyway, this is to bolster the rural economies. The rural economies are really under the cosh right now. Secure the nation's food sustainability. That would also help us to have to prevent ourselves from having to import food, which is hopefully going to be cheaper for us in the long run too. We could also export food if it, you know, if we've got a surplus. One potential strategy is the provision of subsidies for new farms, encouraging more players into the agricultural field. Alternatively, Manger proposes an investment in the mechanisation of existing farms to improve productivity, or the initiation of crop research to foster innovation. Now, mechanisation is historically the most effective measure to shore up agriculture. Have you been informed of the minimum negative number you can go down to without issues? Do I even want to know? I think somebody said -3. -3? I think it was -3. And I would want to know simply because I feel like in real life you'd have a bit of like, well, if we go this much into debt, we're in a bit of trouble. Kind of, you know, you would be advised of that. Okay, well, we won't go into that much debt, but we'll go into this much. So I don't think it's too bad knowing that, to be fair. So if you do know the answer, Nagisa, and you're just asking because you just want to confirm if you want to know, then yeah, you can let me know. But I'm sure somebody said -3. I think it was. I might be wrong on that. But anyway, in my head, I'm thinking any more than -3 is a big problem. Even if it's not, in my head, -3 is like, ooh, danger zone. So we can initiate new crop research, or we can mechanise existing farms. So mechanising existing farms improves productivity, but initiating crop research fosters innovation. And I quite like innovation. But should we mechanise before innovating, or should we innovate? What's the difference here? One's focusing on productivity, and one's focusing on -4 if the economic bar is green, -3 if the bar is yellow, -2 if it's red. I don't think it's going to make a massive difference. I'm just thinking in terms of the mantra of our kind of reign here, and we should know this as an ex-farm child and an economist. We would probably have an inkling as to what's better here. But innovation is, I mean, mechanisation is also a little bit of future-proofing, don't get me wrong, but I always feel like innovation is more, you're just saying it now, John, is more of a long-term thing, and we're focusing our strategies on very much long-term solutions. You know, the focusing on education, for example, at the start of the game was to looking at educating people. Educated people are going to be better in the long term. You know, their kids and their kids' kids, for example. So that's a long-term thing. Innovation, crop research, again, seems more like a long-term thing. Perhaps whereas mechanisation is, yeah, great productivity-wise, but then once you've got all the mechanics in, that's as far as it goes until the next, I suppose, the next mechanical innovation comes along. But no, I think we're going to go with crop research. Crop research. It might mean there's a bit of lack of productivity and a slower uptake on the economic growth of the place. But again, long term, I'm hoping that perhaps towards the back end of our term, you know, all these things come together right at election time. Bing! And the economy's booming and everything's happy as Larry. Mechanised first and crop research later. That's based on the theory that we get to do that. Whereas I think it's one and done, personally. So in case it is one and done, we're going to do the crop research first. Because I'm not 100% sure, but I don't think we're coming back to this choice again in the future. So we're going to go crop research. We're going to spend -1. We can go up to -3 when we're in the yellow, apparently. I don't think we're going to get any worse in the yellow. I think we are going to start to see an increase. So I think we're just going to be a bit canny, a bit careful here. But we'll continue to crack on. Government investment in crop research. A heartening sign of commitment to our agricultural sector. By fostering innovation and improving our understanding of crop growth, this initiative has the potential to yield significant dividends for Grooney's regional economy and our national food security. It's gone down well. It's gone down well. Get rid of that. Right. So that's looking good. Positive press, or at least neutral. Well, it's pretty positive press. Pretty positive press. Right, let's see how that transpires in the future. I'm still waiting eagerly for this meeting of the party wing leaders. It's really beginning to be like almost like waiting for Christmas. It's like, when is it going to happen? When's Santa coming, Mum? When's Santa coming? When you flip and shut your face and gone to bed, that's when it's coming. Hello, Martian Eyes, welcome. We have done education reform. We have gone for reform, but not privatisation. And when it comes to the crops, we have gone for innovation with crops rather than mechanisation, because we couldn't afford subsidy. Full subsidy was too expensive. So that's as much as you've missed, really. So our budget is now -2. But I think we're making good progress. Oh! Well, it looks like Santa's just about to arrive. Down the chimney. Eat his mince pie, take the carrot for Rudolph. After leaving all your presents on your sofa, it's time. Oh, Gloria Tori, I've been dying to meet you, my dear. I don't know why. She's probably going to run rings around me. I wonder what will last longer, this LP or Rishi Sunak. Why? What's happened? What's happened? Has something gone wrong for him? Oh, my heart bloody bleeds. You're a political man, Martian Eyes. You seem to know a lot about politics, and you post quite a bit in the debates section of the forum, of the Discord rather. What's your opinion on when they're going to call an election? Because they were advised to call one sooner rather than later. Like in May, for example, rather than waiting until like November, because they were worried that they were just gonna lose so many seats. So before it got any worse for them, have an election now. 50 MPs from the right wing are planning to oust him. I mean, don't get me wrong, right? I'm not the biggest fan of the guy. I don't know him personally. I just judge him by his actions and his smug face, and I don't like it. If that's a reason not to like somebody that you don't know, I don't know what is. But you know, the whole, oh goodness me, that party ever since Boris left has just been nothing short of, excuse the language, it's just been an absolute shit show. Honest to God, we must be the laughingstock of many countries. Honestly, it is a car crash. A May election. My birthday's in May. I'm off on holiday in May. I booked another holiday. Did I tell you? Did I keep you up to speed? I booked another holiday in May. We're off to Jamaica. I might be on holiday for the election, which I'd be gutted because I like the election. I like, as I said the other week, I just like all the map and the countdowns and the counts coming in. That's all I like about it. I couldn't care less who wins really, as long as it's not the Conservatives now, because they've had their chance and they've just mucked it all up. So I think they've had their say. It's time for something new. Yeah. You are the laughingstock. I don't know. I suppose it's easier if you live in the country and know a lot about it, whereas I am not very good with other countries, you see. Like in this game, I'm not very good on world news. So I'm not, in fact, I'm not very good on England news. I don't watch the news. I don't read the news. The news is just nothing but doom and gloom. So I just never watch it or read it. So when people say, oh, have you heard about so-and-so? Like, no, what's happened? Oh, there's been a bomb found in Plymouth. Oh, has there? All right. How exciting. Anyway, let's get down to the nitty-gritty. We are meeting with Gloria Tory. I arrived at the Grand National Assembly, which was only a 5-minute drive away from the palace. Today I had a private meeting with Gloria Tory, one of the leading figures of the USP, to get her approval for the proposal. She was also key in reaching 150 signatures to propose the new constitution, as she had extensive control over our party's conservative and moderate wings. So this now definitely feels very much like that film that I watched, Lincoln. You know, the whole situation with the whatever they call it, amendment, whichever number amendment it was, and had to get all the right number of signatures, and it was, as I mentioned it before, if you've not seen that film, fantastic film, absolutely fantastic film. But yeah, so now it's time for some political wrangling through charm, wit and personality. Come now, Gloria, what can I do for you? What can I bribe you with? I've got no money. I've got 15 burgundy or / maroon suits, if you'd care to borrow one for your husband. As I walked through the corridors of the Grand National Assembly, I was confronted by my memories of the historic building. Despite being a member of the Assembly not long ago, it now felt like the distant past. I walked into the left wing of the Assembly, which currently acted as the quarters of the USP. Gloria's office was the first one inside. I knocked on the door and entered. Hello, Gloria. How do we play this? Official? Personable? Here I am! A bit too much, perhaps. I think we'll keep it professional. Good morning, Mrs. Tory. Good to see you here, Mr. Rain. Okay. Oh, the whip. What is a whip? I have not got a flipping clue. I've heard of the party whip. What does the party whip do? Right, okay. I've read about her before, but that's just... yeah... She's just basically very much conservative, very much Soll this, Soll that, everything needs to be as it was, or we get the picture, I'm sure. Right, okay. It was a small, neatly organised office. There were small figurines, photos and plants around the place. It had a homey feel. unlike my own assembly office when I worked there. On her gesture, I took a seat. The chair was very uncomfortable. Oh dear. The president's arriving in your office. The president, by the way. Oh yes, no, it's the same party and all that, but still, I'm the president, and you give me the most uncomfortable chair to sit in. This is clearly her ploy. She doesn't like guests. She doesn't like people visiting her, so she gives them the most uncomfy chair so they don't get comfy and they don't sit there for long. Maybe I should have the same strategy when Walter Tusk comes to visit next. Sit on the chair, -1 health. Oh yes. Good old Disco Elysium. Mr. Dubois. How are you doing today, Mrs. Tory? I'm not going to compliment her flipping office. How are you doing, Miss Tory? I'm fine, Mr. Rain. How are you? Ah. I'm fine too, thank you. This is too much. Too much. We're pleasant, but not overly pleasant. She'll see right through it, I'm sure. Anyway, let's keep this simple, Mr. Rain. We both know why you are here. You need my support. Don't you just hate it when somebody has this much power over you? Even though you're supposed to be in charge. I reviewed your proposal in detail. It's a fine draft. Your changes aren't major enough to cause any difficulties. Oh, hang on. Aren't major enough to cause any difficulties. That's a good start, surely. I believe I can give you the help that you require. Oh, really? At what price, Gloria? I'm thinking in my head. She repositioned herself on her far more comfortable-looking chair. Just don't forget, Mr. President, the Conservatives will be expecting a lot from you, such as... as I will be expecting a lot from the Conservatives as well. We are a party. We are in it together. It's generally how this thing works, isn't it? I can get you the signatures needed for the proposal. I'll talk to the other Conservatives. I hope there won't be any surprises, though, Mr. President. I assure you, for a start, I always play with my cards on the table, so there is nothing that you should be concerned about. And as I have proven to be several times during my reign so far, I am a man very much of my word. I'll hold you to that promise. Of course, I can't guarantee that all the Conservatives of the party will vote for your constitutional changes. I have serious reservations about privatising healthcare or the sordid state corporation. The support of my faction can change. That will depend to some extent on your policies, but the signatures, at least, are as good as gathered. This is going far too smoothly here. Either the constitutional changes that we enacted and put down on the paper are actually doing the job themselves, or there's something happening here that I'm not privy to. Ooh. Interesting. Which, out of interest, Mrs. Tory, which policies make you concerned? I am concerned about the oligarchies and the state of our economy. I am worried that they may influence you for their own benefit. No, actually. Speak to Walter Tusk and you'll find out that oligarchies I have managed to tick a few off, actually, because I will not be one to be manipulated. Funnily enough, we expect you to succeed where Alfonso failed in resisting their siren call. If you start privatising healthcare or state-owned corporations, I doubt I can help you. Well, Miss Tory, you'll be pleased to know that I refuse the privatisation of our schools. I will more than likely refuse to privatise our hospitals, so you have nothing to fear there. Yeah, that won't happen. I'm not privatising healthcare either. I mean, the state-owned corporations, I probably... Depends which state-owned corporations we're talking of here, I suppose. But, yeah, can categorically say we're not privatising healthcare. But, yeah, we'll see. We'll see. I'm against privatisation in general for now. So I think we're going to be on the same wavelength there, which is good. She stood up. I believe I've made myself clear. Thanks for stopping by, Mr. President. I hope you'll hold your promises. She extended her hand for me to shake. Once I shook it, she immediately sat back down. But now I need to get back to my duties. If you'll excuse me, Mr. President. Goodbye, Mrs. Tory. Thank you for your time. She only responded with a nod as I left her office. The Conservative side was handled, but to get to the 150 signatures I needed, I would still have to deal with Albin Clavin and the Reformist wing. Okay, so the Reformist wing I thought was going to be the easier of the two, but maybe actually it's not. Because that went very smoothly. I'm not convinced. But we'll see. We'll see. I went outside. Sergei drove me back to the palace where I met Lucian and told him about the progress I'd made with Gloria. And surely Lucian is probably thinking, oh, that went very well, Mr. President. So no privatising healthcare or state-owned corporations. Well, it's against my principles anyway, so I shouldn't struggle to remember that. I just have to be careful with the state-owned corporations bit. But as I said, I'm generally anti-privatisation, and we have gone for planned economy. We are doing some things that aren't planned economy, but not in relation to state-owned major functions. So, I think, as far as I can tell, in my limited experience, I think we're doing all right. My biggest concern is our lack of allies and our withdrawal of the funding for the military with the situation with Rumberg. I kind of feel that if we were going to withdraw the funding from Rumberg, we should probably have an ally to help us. Without an ally or military funding, I kind of think we're a bit screwed. We'll see. And there might be a way to turn it around in the future, perhaps, but at the moment, I'm a little bit... that's my only worry. Everything else, I'm quite comfortable with at the minute. BFF warns Valen, Swordland and Lesbia. In a startling announcement, spokespersons of the Bludish Freedom Front have released a statement condemning the governments of Swordland, Lesbia and Valen for their mistreatment of Bludish citizens. The statement warns of political action against these governments if they continue to ignore the will of the Bludish people. The BFF statement particularly targets the government of Valen, accusing President Victor Smolak of planning to carry out a genocide against the Bludish people. These shocking allegations demand immediate attention and action from the international community to prevent such atrocities. It is high time for these governments to listen to the voices of their Bludish citizens and respect their rights and freedoms, otherwise militant groups like the BFF will take the lead and push the region into violence. Which again, I'm hoping to offer that olive branch to the Bluish people. But before we even get to that stage, we have a situation in Berger to deal with, because Berger have this personal, private governor situation going on. It's set outside of our government, which if we were to start looking at, you know, tapping into, you know, being a bit more inclusive with the Bluish people, I think we'd have to probably deal with that situation first. Maybe. I don't know. There's got to be a situation that crops up down here that we can deal with. It's got to be. All this Bluish stuff that's going on, at some point we're going to be able to do something about it, I feel. In terms of policy shifts, funding maybe. Lucian offers to play chess. Yeah, do you know what? We're probably avoiding the wife a little bit because she's still angry with us because we didn't give her the platform to make a speech about women's rights. She's in a bit of a strop. So, do you know what? We'll play a bit of chess. Keeps the mind sharp as well. An evening chess match with Lucian Gallard. We like Lucian, he's a good guy. Evening descended on the capital as Lucian and I found ourselves alone in my office. I followed my chief strategist's eyes to the chessboard on the coffee table. Right, I don't know why, I feel like my microphone is a bit out of the way today. Actually it isn't, it's just the way I'm sat. In fact, hang on. Evening descended on the capital as Lucian and I found... Okay, so chessboard, coffee table, it's all set up, it's ready to go. Of course, we have to win. The sight of it reminded me of simpler times, of late night strategy sessions turning into chess matches. We used to escape the political chaos into a world of rooks and bishops. Our battles were both tense and friendly, a reflection of our long history together. Lucian had always proved a challenging opponent. His strategies, both on the chessboard and in politics, had the same unpredictable edge. A soft knock interrupted my reminiscing. Livia came in with our usual coffee. She noticed the chessboard and smiled. Ah, long nights of strategy planning and now a game of chess? You two never stop thinking, do you? What's your opinion on chess, Livia? We ask. Ever been tempted to learn? I prefer whist, Mr. President. I'll leave the complex plotting to the professionals. Have a good game, gentlemen. And thank you for the coffee. She turned and left the room. Lucian acknowledged her exit with a slight nod, his eyes still fixed on the board. I hope you remember that it's not always the king who holds the power. Sometimes a well-placed pawn can change the game. The power dynamics of a chessboard can teach us a lot about politics. Wouldn't you agree, Lucian? Absolutely. And playing chess with politicians will tell you more about their goals and plans than any speech. As Lucian positioned the pieces on the chessboard, it stirred memories of our early days in the United Swordland Party. His dexterous manoeuvring reflected the unseen orchestration that helped Peter and me ascend through the ranks. As the final piece was set into position, the board transformed into a silent battlefield. Shall we, Lucian? Indeed, President Rain. A game of chess is exactly what we need. Which colour do you prefer? Black as usual or white this time? Why change the habit of a lifetime? Black. I like the advantage of reacting, not necessarily, I just always black. A strategist's choice. I'm not surprised. The board is yours to react to. With the sides chosen, Lucian sat back, his fingers laced together in contemplation. Obviously, you know, I'm a big Darren Brown fan. If you've watched, certainly if you've watched the Alan Wake streams, the earlier sessions of the Alan Wake streams, which was uncannily spooky. But yeah, he did he basically did a chess game, little thing where he played like, what was it, 8 people, 9 people at a game of chess, and basically he said, like, I'm going to beat you, win more games than I lose. And these were like some people like were really good, but all he was doing basically, he memorized the moves of all of the players that he was playing against, and was basically playing the people off against each other. It was very clever. It was very clever. What's clever about it is the fact that he remembered it all, you know, the bloody hell. But anyway, I've never been one for chess. I know the rules, and I have played in my time, but I'm just not a big chess person. Mainly because I'm crap at it. And thus the game began. Lucian moved his knight from G1 to F3, aiming for a Reti opening. Reti opening, you say? That famous opening. The Reti opening. Reti, I see, Lucian. Let's throw in a bit of spice, shall we? Control the centre. Hey, if it's like a game of squash, it's all about controlling the T. It's all about controlling the T. So let's control the centre. In response to Lucian's attempt at the Reti opening, I advanced my pawn from e7 to e5, aiming to strengthen my grip on the centre. A solid move, Mr. Rain. Maintaining control of the centre is often key. Lucian's next move was calculated and swift. The bishop glided from f1 to g2, preparing for a potential kingside castle and fortifying the pawn structure. Opting for a solid defence, I see, Lucian. Every castle needs its walls. Castle kingside, press the centre. What the hell? Oh, you're quite a big chess fan. Oh, I see. Okay, no clues here. I'm sure you will be able to discern the right strategy at this precise moment, probably. Unlike me, potential kingside. I reckon he's luring us into a false sense of security. I will continue to press the centre. Seeing Lucian's strategy unfold, I decided to assert control over the centre. Moving my pawn from e7 to e5, I prepared to challenge his dominance on the board. With this, the stage was set. The opening manoeuvres had transformed into a mid-game battle of wits. Every pawn push, every subtle repositioning had been a testament to Lucian's strategic prowess and my resilience. The next move would prove crucial. Lucian's queen cut a path through the heart of the board, menacing my vulnerable kingside. The stakes were sky high. A bold pawn advance could release my rook's potential and threaten Lucian's knight. On the other hand, I could gamble with a Roomish gambit, a risky play that could wrestle control of the centre away from him. We've got to attempt a Roomish gambit. We've got to try it. It's risky, but it's high stakes, and sometimes risks pay off. I attempted a Roomish gambit. I decided to risk a critical pawn, hoping to gain an advantage in the middle game. Ah, the Roomish gambit, pushing down the centre. Bold, but risky. Risk often comes with rewards, Lucian. Hey? Let's turn this screen a little bit. I think that's a bit better, I think. He calmly slid his queen across the board, threatening my isolated pawn. His subtle smirk revealed he understood my gambit and was ready to counter. Lucian had made a bold move, pushing his pawn forward and forcing my bishop into a vulnerable position. While the urge to secure my threatened bishop was strong, an enticing opportunity also lay before me, a potential double attack on Lucian's king and rook. Initiate the Resian fork. Aha! I manoeuvred my knight expertly, landing it on a square that posed a double threat to Lucian's king and rook. A daring manoeuvre under fiery pressure. You're an adept tactician, but this is far from over. In response to my knight's threat, Lucian moved out the threat, creating a barrier between my knight and his king. Fire is the test of gold, Lucian. Exploit the back rank, pioneer pawn march. What? Pioneer pawn march? Ooh, where do we go with this one? I think exploiting the back rank seems too obvious. We're going to do the pioneer pawn march. I boldly advance my central pawn, paving the way for my knights and bishops to assert their dominance. Ah, a swift strike at the heart, Mr. President. The game grows more interesting. The centre was congested, a testament to Lucian's unyielding style. His formation was formidable, his pieces interlocked in a matrix of support, each protecting the other while simultaneously projecting threats across the board. It was my move and the game had entered its final stages. Lucian's queen was uncomfortably close, radiating danger. I had only a few paths before me. The game was slipping from my grasp. I had two options, a risky knight sacrifice that could lead to a swift end, or to hunker down and hope for a draw. Nah. I basically think that, the knights are always sacrificed, aren't they, in chess? That's one thing I learned about chess. The knights are always there to be sacrificed. A fork is when you threaten two vital pieces at once. Okay, well, we're going to go with a knight sacrifice. We're going to go all in now. This game has gone on for long enough, and we ain't holding out for no draw. It's double or bust. I decided to sacrifice my knight, hoping that the unexpected move would throw Lucian off balance. Ah, a bold sacrifice. Let's see how this plays out. If Lucian fell into the trap, I might manage a draw. If he saw through it, my loss was imminent. A sacrifice in vain. I accept. Lucian seized the opportunity, capturing my sacrificed knight and strengthening his position. My bold move backfired. Lucian's pieces closed in, trapping my king. It was checkmate. Oh, for God's sake. The game was over and Lucian had won. I wonder if there was a way for me to win this game. There probably was. Maybe. You have outmaneuvered me, Mr. Gallard. Well played, sir. Damn you. There's a reason you're the chief strategist, isn't there? Thank you, Mr. President. You've put up quite a fight. That's like a backhanded compliment if ever I've heard one. You put up quite a fight, but not enough. Better luck next time. Time well spent. We learn less from victories, though. Lucian and I slowly began to dismantle the chessboard, each piece carefully placed back into its protective casing. Lucian was high in spirits, his eyes gleaming with a rare look of contentment. The high stakes and strategical intricacies of this game remind me of the traits I endured early in my career, or trials. Although the situation there was rarely as black and white. Okay. Sounds like you've got some interesting stories to share. Care to share one? Whilst we're here? In a way, chess prepared me for some of the challenges I faced. I was involved in some complex situations where every move could drastically alter the landscape. Sounds like you've dealt with a lot of tough decisions. Indeed, Mr. President. My past isn't without its share of shadows. There was a time when I served in a capacity that wasn't so straightforward. I dance on a knife edge, every step carrying deep consequences. Okay, so Lucian's gaze dropped to his empty glass as he fell into a moment of quiet introspection. We are intrigued, but we won't push it if it's making the man uncomfortable. I have reconciled with my past, sir. I don't shy away from sharing aspects of it with those I trust. I can tell you that there were instances where I found myself in the midst of, let's call it, intelligence work. It was a complex dance, rife with deception and shadows. Ooh. Intelligence work, Lucian. An unexpected revelation. Or is it, ultimately? Very clever guy. It's true, sir. During the late Kingdom era, I found myself part of King Eggman's intelligence service, in a manner many would find objectionable. Much as I'd love to elaborate, I must take my leave. Thank you for the delightful match. Delightful for you, maybe. I demand a I would like to rematch, but I don't want to put it quite like that. So we shall just simply thank him. And indeed, the match, the convo, was indeed very captivating and a welcome distraction from the rigours of running the country. I hope to play again soon, though I cannot promise the outcome will be any different for you. Now, Lucian. He smiled. Good night, Mr. President. Good night, Lucian. As Lucian departed, I thought about what he told me. I'd learned a thing or two, but the man was more of a mystery than ever. Lucian's a spook. Yeah, the absolute monarchy is exactly, yes, not so long ago. Still is in the not too distant past. That line is it getting worse or is it just my eyes? Right, no news is good news. No briefings is good news, because the briefings are usually bad news. So we shall press on to meet with Albin Clavin on the planned reforms, part 2. You don't trust Lucian? Come on now, it's Lucian. If there's two people in this game that I can trust, it's Lucian and Sergei. Everybody else, there's always that little air of, Kiara seems very, very much quite a straightforward lady. She likes what she likes, and as long as you keep her happy, she's cool. But the economy people have got their fingers in pies. Villas, dinners with big wigs. Yeah, exactly. Simon, for example. But Lucian's sound. This is when he kills us on behalf of Rumberg Intelligence Services. Cornered by him one night. Jesus. Oh, of course, Peter as well. Peter. Right, here we go. Another big meeting. Okay. After our meeting with Gloria Tory and further discussions with the party and my cabinet, it was time to talk to Albin Clavin to get the reformist wing to support the proposal. I also plan to finally present a more fleshed out proposal and declare our agenda to the party after our meeting. Woohoo! I walked into the left wing of the assembly and entered the quarters of the USP. When I reached the meeting hall, I saw many of our members conversing inside. After taking a glimpse inside, I went back into the corridor to look for the office of Albin Clavin, which was around the back of the place. When I reached his room, I knocked on his door and entered. Mr. President, Welcome. The whole room was surrounded by bookshelves packed with files and papers. It was a small office with books and dossiers lying on every corner. It felt claustrophobic. On his gesture, I took a seat. How comfortable is it? How comfy is this seat? We ask. Okay. Did a bomb drop in this office? No. How is everything going, Mr. Clavin? It's been busy. The party has been working very hard, Mr. President. Thank you for asking. How's it going for you in the palace? I'm feeling pretty good, actually. That's great to hear. I want to express my gratitude for passing the Workers' Rights Act. Woohoo, I saw it already in the good books. This is a good sign. It's one of my most comprehensive and successful political efforts. Interesting. You and I see eye to eye on many subjects, including this one. Bit of buttering up. I'm not the buttering up kind of guy. Yeah. Simply the right thing to do because our workers have been suffering for decades. Indeed, the people will credit your administration and party for a positive change in their lives. The businesses will share the burden with the state, but it is a change they have to abide by. Albin smiled and knocked on wood. Anyway, sir, let's talk about the proposal. Thanks for coming here for my input, because there are some subjects where Glory and I don't see eye to eye. I have to say that most of the progressives were already starting to warm up to you. Your attempt at changing the Constitution created quite a bit of excitement. One could dare to say an excitement that hasn't been felt since the 30s. I read the proposal that was finalised together with Mrs. Tory, and surprisingly, it came out pretty good. Look, Mr. President, I'm on the same side as you. I won't create any problems. Thank you, Mr. Clavin. Any help from you is much appreciated. He looked down at the proposal. It's looking good. I will support the proposal and get the needed signatures from our wing. I believe the reformist votes that I have will be very important to you. Who knows? Maybe you'll consider me for a job in the government in the future for this. Ooh, that sounds like a promise. Jesus. Okay. If we're going to go down that game, then we're not going to be pitching it all in straight away. Give me your votes, or give me the votes from the relevant people, and I'll consider it. Is that enough of a kind of a maybe we'll see about it kind of situation without it being a promise? Oh, you know I will, Mr. President. I will talk to my guys shortly. I'll have their signatures soon. Thank you, Mr. Clavin. See you in the conference, Mr. President. I left his room and went back into the corridor, and suddenly leaned against the wall and thought to myself, now both of those meetings went far too smoothly. What am I not seeing? Where is the knife in the back coming from? Because that cannot be as smooth as that. I mean, the Constitution cannot have been so good that it placated everybody, together with the policies that we've enacted so far, cannot have appeased everybody, surely, unless we have accidentally played a political blinder, which I highly doubt. The meeting had exhausted me. What exhausted me? I'd be walking with a flipping spring on a step, pal. They went swimmingly, supposedly. I went to the restaurant of the Assembly to get something to eat whilst conversing with other members of our party. They gave you a more difficult ride. Oh, so maybe we have just played a blinder then. I saw Albin talking to his people in the distance. After a while, the preparations for the conference began, and I went back to the conference hall and prepared my notes for the speech I was going... Oh, I love giving speeches. Right, here we go. Speech time. Love a good speech, me. Right, what can we... Let's just not botch the speech. We've talked to the leaders. That went really well. Surely now the hard work is done. We just have to... a few little niceties and say the right things, and the Constitution is good to go to the Supreme Court, where Nia, we've got her on our side. It's going to do the rest. Unity, unity, unity. Thank you for inviting me. Bye. Yes, there you go. Martianized is my official speechwriter. What if they have something to do with the rebels of the riots? Is that the knife in the... Well, we shall see. Gloria Tori, of course, the speaker, announced me from the stand. You give just a slight little nod of appreciation. Thank you very much. Not acknowledgement, rather. Thank you, Mrs. Tori. I walked up to the stand as everybody in the room started clapping. Well, that's a good start. Nobody's throwing tomatoes at us. Nobody's jeering. It's a good start. Ooh, how do we start this? Brothers and sisters of United Swordland. Is that a bit far? Unity. Unity, unity, unity. I think we're gonna open with it. We've got to do it, haven't we? Who's written this damn speech? Brothers and sisters of United Swordland. I came here today to announce the agenda for the future of our country. I started my speech with the reasons of the changes to the Constitution. Our system and institutions have increasingly become undemocratic. Over the decades after Soll tightened his grip on the country. Since then, we have a Supreme Court that obstructs the duties of the President and the Assembly. We must finally be brave enough to go against the status quo that they created and write a new Constitution. I paused and some people started clapping, but it was short-lived. After taking a breath, I continued. Just keep it about democracy. We're not targeting people. We're not talking about surviving elections. If we don't survive the election, the people have decreed it so. I brought attention to the democracy and why we must write a more democratic constitution. I explained how our proposal will fix the issues. The left side of the hall, where Albin sat, started clapping. We just a slight little nod. Don't want to get ahead of ourselves here. Later, I explained the contents of the new constitution and asked for their full support for the proposal. Ask for their votes. To make a change together. Unity. The reformist wing on the left stood up and started clapping loudly after Albin Clavin made a sign. Soon after, most of the party members stood up and joined in. I saluted everybody in the room one last time and bid them farewell before leaving the stand. I walked outside the assembly and back into the palace. And we sit back, we crack open a bottle of whiskey, take a sip, one blob of ice, and think to ourselves, have we done it? Have we done it? Have we got at least the signature side sorted? It seems to suggest things seem to... Don't want to get ahead of ourselves here. But it could be worth 2 whiskies tonight, Mr. Rain. What's the newspaper saying? President meets the USP. Today, President Rain has met with his party members in a party meeting in the Grand National Assembly of Swordland, where the current situation of the country and future plans of the party were likely discussed. It was later reported that President Rain used the meeting to give a speech to the party and announced the contents of the first draft of the new constitution. The details were not made public. Know what the draft contained, and why should they be public, for heaven's sake? Get a grip, will you? Balance of power in Eastern Macopa. Oof, what's that about? Oh, is that like a new chapter? Is that like a new chapter? Balance of power in Eastern Macopa. Uh-oh, that doesn't sound good. Sounds like war's coming. Right, what we got? Benfey. Infrastructure at full capacity in Benfey. The bustling city of Benfey is facing infrastructural challenges as its airport and port facilities are at full capacity due to high volumes of logistics and tourist travel. More infrastructure expansion and modernisation is required. This is the place that asked for a flipping airport, isn't it? This is the foreign policy chapter. Oh. Right, I'm going to need some foreign policy help then, because obviously, as I've expressed several times now, foreign policy is not a favourite type of policy. Radical. Archaic state of Swordland's conscription laws. Dear reader, I ask you this. What year are we in? 1880s? 1920s? The matter I am writing about is, of course, mandatory military service again. In times when there are no active wars, why do we still need to have these archaic conscription laws? Let me answer that. It is because someone profits from it. Not only does this make the warmongering solists happy, it also works out for large defence corporations. The oligarchies are now swimming in money, while we still have to send our children away when they come of age. We are in the modern age. If we want to modernise Swordland and catch up to the superpowers, if we want to lose this militaristic identity so that we can intellectually prosper, mandatory conscription laws need to go. Yeah, conscription is still present in some places in 2024. Yeah, what is this? The 1950s? Geopolitico, Rain to meet with Smolak and Van Horten. Ooh, do I get to meet other leaders? Oh, this is fun. Maybe I've changed my mind. Reading about papers and flipping dossiers, one thing. Meeting other leaders, ooh, quite interesting. Swordland is embarking on a great geopolitical gamble with the new trade initiative organised by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. The hope is that solidification of relations with the old ally Agnolia and the troublesome neighbour Valen, with the aim of regaining some of the regional diplomatic influence the country used to have. Each of these countries have different agendas, which will create some difficulties for President Rain. Van Horten, who was elected through a powerful democratic movement, wants to reimagine trade. That's Agnolia at the north there. While President Smolak, down here, wants new foreign investments and security cooperation against rebellious bluish movements at the border. Lesbia, down south, and Valgsland, island off up here somewhere, are watching Swordland's actions very closely and are sure to react to any sort of balance of power shift. Now this could be our way into securing ourselves a bit better militarily, I think. Maybe. Possibly. We'll see. Thank God there's no conscription here. Anyway, I'm too old. Well, actually, it's 18 to 60. I'm going to say I'm too old now, but if it's 18 to 60, I'm not, am I? What can I flip and do at my age? Quite a lot, probably. I'm not exactly in my Zimmer frame just yet. Don't be sending me on no front line, sir. I'm not very good with a weapon. The Religious Harmony Bill. Interesting. It's going to cost money. So we have to veto it because we can't afford it, probably. What's this? The Ministry of Health discussions privatise. Oh, here's the first little thing. Oh, privatisation. You can discuss it all you want. It's not happening. Categorically not happening. It's one thing I am firm on. Okay, it doesn't look like it's going to cost anything. Right, do we like the sound of this? Religious Harmony Bill. In an endeavour to promote religious harmony and unity, the Grand National Assembly introduces the Religious Harmony Bill, the RHB, establishing regulations for religious affairs across Swordland. Section 1 of the RHB mandates that all sermons conducted during the Day of Dissension ceremony at the Arch Sanctuary of Deer will henceforth be held in the Swordish language. This move is aimed at promoting inclusivity and common understanding among worshippers. Okay. Section 2 regulates the language of sermons in other sanctuaries across Swordland. It prohibits the use of Bluedish for sermons unless explicit approval has been obtained from the Archpriest of Swordland. This measure ensures consistency and unity in religious practices across the country. Section 3 sets forth new regulations for priests seeking state-sanctioned positions. It requires that all applicants must have Swordish lineage. This doesn't seem that good to me. It seems all very much like not embracing, you know, multicultural stuff. This sounds really bad. I don't like this at all. You know what? No. We're not having this. Oh, we must have all sermons in our language. We must have no Bluedish language allowed. And you must have Swordish lineage to be eligible for salaries and pensions. Get out of town, pal. Not on my watch. Not on my watch, sir. Here we go. Radical. President Rain protects religious freedoms. Bearing in mind we get the veto stuff taken away from us with this new constitution. President Rain, well, it's not taken away, it's restricted, shall we say. Recently vetoed the outrageous Religious Harmony Bill. The bill was aiming to limit the freedoms of Bluedish people in Swordland. The MP to propose this bill was, of course, Casaro Kibbener, the leader of the NFP himself. Mr. Kibbener has never stopped his attacks on Bluedish people, and we are sure that he will continue his racist onslaught and his attempts to further divide the country. President Rain's decision to veto this discriminatory bill, which was a clear attack on religious and personal freedoms, will be welcomed by Blues and Swords alike. I thank you, and I certainly hope so. A call from Gus Manger. Ring, ring. What's happening, Gus? I've just finished signing the damn thing. Get it off. Oh. Tell the papers. Put in a good word. Thanks very much. Right, what's next? Oh, Gus is on the phone. Sipping my first cup of coffee of the day when the phone lit up and rang. I swore under my breath. I thought my schedule was clear for at least half an hour. Picked up the phone. Mr. President, how are you doing on this fine day, if I may ask? Oh, Gus. Fine as well. You? I'm good, because business in Swordland is running as usual from my end. Thanks for asking. I'm calling you because I received a call from the CEO of Armadine Industries, Aaron Bridges, about the recent initial public offering on the Ventry City Stock Exchange. On the what? As you might have guessed, it's about our little venture investment of 1,000 shares worth nearly 1 million Ren. Oh, of course, we put investment in. Is this where we are told that our investments have netted us a fortune, Gus? Give us the good news, man. Oh, we've made gains. Ooh, come on, Gus, give me the figures. Give me the facts and figures. Talk numbers to me, Gus. The shares have doubled in price at the IPO in the VCSE, and we will soon receive the profits made from the investment. Isn't that great? Ooh, it's great news, Gus. It is great news indeed. How much did we gain? Oh, you're going to love this. In total, we have made nearly 2 million Swordish Ren. I bet that right now you're wishing you had bought more stocks earlier, right? Well, I couldn't really afford it at the time. If I could, I would probably have invested more. But hey, let's not be greedy. It was good for a start. Good start, yeah. It definitely was. I assure you this will pale in comparison to what we will do together in the future. The money will be transferred to your personal bank account shortly. Gus, I want you to keep me up to date on any other opportunities. We'll let you know immediately when new opportunities arise, sir. Oh, I almost forgot. The management sent you one of their brand new radios as a gift. Miss Suno will bring it to you. That's Liv, isn't it? Yeah, that's Liv. Goodbye for now. So we get investment, profits, and we get one of these brand new Fandangle radio things. Look at that. The line dropped. Oh, hey, two. We've got a collection. Hang fire, folks. Right. How long am I streaming until? I'm about to be having my dinner very shortly. So probably, I'd say round about 10ish, if I was to have a guess. Hang on. I thought I could hear footsteps downstairs. Right, okay. Yes, it is intentional muting. Right, so I will eat my dinner very shortly, but we've got two important events here. Well, one important event and one soiree, it looks like. We've got the briefing on the status of immigration regulation, which is rather interesting because we have promised tighter immigration rules, which is kind of against what Agnolia want for our alliance with them, but we'll see. So here we are, middle of a meeting. We've got David Wishy, we've got Iosef Lancea, we've got Lilius, and we've got Simon. Quite a little mix. Foreign Trade and Affairs, Minister of Defence, Interior and Economy. Very important meeting. The ensuing discussion quickly became heated. I don't think so, Mr. Wishy. It just doesn't make any sense to me that a foreign citizen should come before a Swordish citizen in Swordland. Well said. My analysis is also in line with this, especially during the economic recession. We are giving Swordish jobs to migrants from other countries. What about our own people? Immigrants are the reason our economy is not completely unsalvageable. Look at Agnolian immigrants in Agland. They have revitalized the whole region and in turn boosted the economy of the entire country. Simon can attest to that. Statistically speaking, allowing immigrants to become part of the workforce contributes to our economy, but I agree that the current situation is very nuanced. With that said, we can't just tighten our immigration policy and expect the economy to stay the same. We need to put our economy and the recession at the forefront. Gentlemen, can we please get back on topic? Right, sorry, Mr. Wishy. As I was just saying before I was interrupted, look at the superpowers. Do you see them closing off their borders? Why do you think their economies are in such good shape? They are in their current state because they welcome immigration and use it to their advantage. Now, we've kind of promised that we're not going to go, we're going to tighten immigration policy. When we started out, I kind of look at that decision now and think to myself, meh. If we're going to go against one of our promises, it would probably be this one. But we'll see what's on the table, what options are available. And given we're in a recession, yeah, economic impact is a big factor that we should consider. Our money flow should be our utmost concern if we want to have the capability to accomplish actual change. We need a decision. But before we move on, Mr. President, do you have any questions about the current state of immigration? Of course I do. What is the current legal status of immigrants? Currently, all accepted immigrants are given a work permit on arrival, so they can work and contribute to the economy of Swordland. There is currently no limit on the number of immigrants accepted. However, the number has remained stable over the past years. Despite the laws, the fact is many immigrants illegally work for corporations. That is the main issue with immigration right now, not the immigration itself. Nonsense! If not for the unlimited amount of immigration, we wouldn't be in this state. Okay, so how many immigrants live here? Official numbers show that we have anywhere between 2 to 3 million immigrants residing in Swordland. Even excluding the countless undocumented aliens in our midst, that is a very substantial amount. The primary issue is the strife they cause between less fortunate Swordish citizens and themselves. Including them in the workforce would benefit everybody, including unemployed swords. More taxes means more services. Okay, and how do they usually arrive? There are 3 major paths they choose. The first one is the Agland to Agnolia border, the second is the Bergia to Valen border, and the third is the Lauren coast. Agnolians are the largest group. It's a light border over there, although recently political fugitives from Valgsland have been crossing the Grey Sea by boat to land on our coast. Politically persecuted Vezek refugees tend to use the dangerous mountain passes at the Valen border. Many of them also have Bluedish blood. This is significantly increasing the Blued populace inside Bergia. Okay, thank you for your information. Let's move on. Very well. He opens his dossier, stamped with the seal of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Trade. Before we make any decisions, I have to remind you... What about our pre-election promise? During the elections, we promised to tighten immigration laws. Of course, as you know, I was, and I still am, against it. I agree with David. We can turn immigration to our advantage from a financial standpoint. Advantage? You should go over the amount of disadvantages caused by immigration. I can provide you with a report from my ministry later. Believe me, it would surprise you. We need to keep our promises and focus on our own citizens. That is what I think. David sighed wearily. This is going nowhere. If we decide to tighten immigration, what does that entail? We would have to impose quotas and, connected to that, stricter border control, on top of allowing our economy to take a hit. Mr. Hall, surely the well-being of our citizens and our internal security will more than compensate for any downturn in the markets. Agreed. Swordish citizens should take priority. And any consequences to keeping it relaxed? Aside from keeping us on the path to prosperity, modernity and continuous improvement, not much. Our current system is good for our era. We also have the capacity. This will allow us to continue protecting investments from foreign countries, which in turn will keep our trade steady. We would be more trustworthy partners. Stability draws money. Stability? What stability? We're already seeing clashes between our people and foreign interlopers. On the contrary, the only way we can achieve stability is through tightening our immigration policy. You heard the lady. Swordland first. It's decision time. Everyone leans forward eagerly. Oh, wow, right. Okay, so let me just get a bit of cauliflower cheese first, whilst I ponder this decision. Bloody hell. Today's meal of choice is chicken Kiev. Right. So we made a promise to tighten immigration, and I can't remember why we chose that. Because thinking about it now, I don't want to do it. I actually think keeping the immigration laws as they are is going to be more beneficial in the long term. Foreign policies, trade with Agnolia, economy-wise, somebody said we'd be more trustworthy, trustworthy on the international stage. So, I don't know what the penalty is for going against one of your election promises, but as I said not so long ago, if we were going to go against one of them, this is the one that I do a U-turn on. And if I have to be questioned on it, I'll be providing the necessary answers. But I've decided, they all look at us expectantly, we are going to keep the immigration laws relaxed. I am glad you made the right choice. We will be forced to handle new waves of migrants from Magnolia. Our border posts aren't ready. Not only that, we've just abandoned the native Sauls who need our support the most. Also, this will bring a new tide of refugees from Vale and Berge is already a difficult region to manage. This is shameful. The citizens of Swordland aren't forgotten. I would add to that, actually, or counter that. Our work for them continues onwards. And now they will compete with foreign immigrants just to put food on their tables. I am disappointed in you, Rain. Anything else, Mr. President? Nope. But I do want to say something. You, all of you, better get used to these new changes, because this is our new direction and we need to pull in the same direction. So as much as you are of different opinions as to this, the decision is final. Good day. The ministers gather their documents and rose from their chairs, some with frowns on their faces. I'm looking forward to the upcoming trade talks. Peter and I have been visiting Stahlport and Rachlowitz in preparation. I'll be coming along to talk with the economy minister, looking forward to the potential partnership. If we are finished, I need to head off and get the ministry to work on the new policy. Same here. Our border units need to be informed and prepared. Keep up the good work, folks. We smile, almost sinisterly, I suppose, aiming it at two individuals in particular. The ministers dispersed. Oh, happy days. Ooh, we've got a lot of stuff happening. Ooh, hang on. Right, there's a lot of reading to do now. That's 2 middle fingers we've given to Iosif. Yeah, I think we need to sack him next and put somebody else more pliable there. Right, we've got lots to read, so that means that I can eat my dinner. So I'm going to mute myself, eat, and we're going to go through all of the text. You'll have to read it yourself, of course, and then we'll press on with the next turn, which apparently is some kind of a soiree with Peter. That'll be fun. Who's betting we have to carry him out of the place whilst he's paralytic? Anyway, I won't be long. Right, back with you. Okay, so we have resolved the protests peacefully, which seems to suggest that if we'd handled things slightly differently, the protests might not have ended quite as peacefully. So another string to our bow, another feather in the old fedora hat. So yeah, really happy with that. Right then, so we are feeling more and more snowed under as the weeks pass. Not a surprise. And it has been quite a while since I had any time to myself. Okay, so we are becoming a bit snappy apparently, and Peter has noticed that I think it's about time, Mr. Rain, that we have a break. Or has Peter just got an ulterior motive here? I think you need a break. No, I don't. Obviously, Peter, I'm fine. No, you do. Look, you're a bit very snappy. Look, even now, I'm not being snappy, Peter. Yeah, come on, let's go have a drink. Why don't you just say, Peter, that you want a drink? Bring me into this. After much cajoling, he finally persuaded me to come to a meeting of his new venture, Gentleman's Club. For the past few months, he'd been hosting a salon of sorts, not just for politicians and businessmen, but also for artists, entertainers, people of taste. He told me with a smile on his face. There's only one rule: no wives or girlfriends allowed, hence the name. Bit of music. So I found myself in front of this, of his new luxury villa in Erleroy. You've also bought a luxury villa. What the hell is wrong with all these people buying villas around here? Very loud jazz music emanated from inside. I waited and waited. Finally, Peter opened the door. I could smell the whiskey on his breath. I put this in the Discord server yesterday, but just the Gentleman's Club just kind of reminded me. I'm not a big Netflixy watching a series kind of person. I'm currently watching Stranger Things, and it's taking me some time to get through that, to be honest with you. Because I just don't spend a lot of time watching TV or programmes. But I went to a mate's house on Saturday at like 12, and I usually go around in the evening, around about 4, 5, 6-ish, but I fancied an evening to myself yesterday, on Saturday night, sorry. So I said to her, oh, do you fancy doing an afternoon, session? A couple of drinks in the afternoon, not too many, but just a couple, and watch some TV or something, have a natter. Anyway, so that's what we did. So made a nice cup of tea, cup of coffee, put some rum in it, and we said, oh, we'll find a Netflix program to watch, because we've got a good 3 or 4 hours. Might as well just laze about, enjoy a bit of a relaxing Saturday, because we were supposed to go walking, but she wasn't very well, and plus the weather was a bit crappy. So instead of walking, we just slopped on the sofa instead, complete polar opposite to doing anything active. But what's it called? The Gentleman? A Netflix series. It's come out just recently, apparently. The Gentleman? I can't remember what it was called. It's got a gentleman in the title anyway. But honestly, it was pretty decent actually. I was quite surprised. When it started out, I thought it was going to be a serious programme. It kind of looked quite serious. And then as it got into about 5 minutes in, it was clearly a bit of a comedy kind of thing. But it's really interesting. And then I googled it, and apparently there was a film. And I don't know if it was a spin-off of the film or linked to the film or what, I'm not quite sure. But anyway, it's not a bad watch if you've got 8 hours to spare. I think there's 8 episodes, and I think each one's an hour long. But yeah, it was good fun. I think we watched 3 in a row, or it might have been 4. 3 or 4, I can't remember. Oh, there is a film. There's a pig scene, which is classic. Oh yeah, but it's what's the guy's name? Famous Guy Ritchie. Yeah, Guy Ritchie is the director. So as you can imagine, there's a lot of familiar faces in the series too. Vinnie Jones, for example. Ray Winston. The guy from Far Cry 6 is in it. What's he called? The main baddie in Far Cry 6. He's obviously a very famous guy. Esprit something or other. Anyway, he's in it. But there's some really it was good. It was good. I quite enjoyed it actually. I quite like that it was light-hearted as well. Esposito, that's the fella. That's the fella. He's in it as well. Yeah. The premise is that this guy inherits the fortune. His father was the Duke of whatever the place is called. I can't remember. And so he gives it to his second son, who then enlists in becoming part of the criminal underworld. It's really good fun. But yeah, I quite enjoyed it, and actually to the point where my mate says when I left like 5 o'clock on Saturday night or afternoon, evening-ish, she says because normally if we're watching a series together, she'll stop where we stop and she'll watch when I come back the next weekend. But she says, "Oh, I'm gonna have to watch all of this now." So I'm gonna have to watch all the rest of it myself. But yeah, anyway, we're here at the Gentleman's Club. No wives, no girlfriends. In Peter's luxury villa. And so, finally, now the real party can start. Come on in. As soon as I entered, Peter closed the door and turned to the small crowd. "Gentlemen, a minute of your time, please. I now have the privilege to present to you the man himself, the 4th President of Swordland, Mr. Anton Rain." I'd known him for long enough to understand that he was more than a little drunk. He made an elaborate mock curtsy as I passed him and walked into the room. The music stopped and I felt everyone's eyes on me. This is that same syndrome that I discussed the other day, when we were walking through the park with a motorcade following us. You can't just stroll into a supermarket, can you, as a president? Mr. President just walks into flipping Asda. Not my choice of supermarket, actually. Lidl or Aldi or Tesco for me personally. Walks into Aldi. Why not? The president of the country. Not expecting for the whole place to stop, people to come rushing over. Look, I'm just here to buy those chunky salt and vinegar fish fingers because they're flipping delicious. That's all I've come for. Not to be mobbed. I present to you Peter Vecton, the first alcoholic vice president. Ooh, so tempting. But we shall save the scolding for behind closed doors and simply say, "Good evening, one and all." Probably feeling a little awkward, because I know I would be right now. Peter nodded to me and turned to the attendees. "Dear members, please give a warm welcome to our very special guest, if I may, Anton. Here, take this." He handed me a glass of whiskey and put his hand on my shoulder. "We all know why we are gathered here tonight. To celebrate life. To have a brief escape from our tumultuous professions. I personally don't know any better cure for stress than a little drink." A little. The rule is, as Nagisa will attest, if I say it before the option comes up, I have to say it. So I have to say it. Oh, and he's drunk, he probably won't get the slight dig. A few people in the crowd chuckled. I got a laugh. And still raised their glasses. Now, the tradition dictates that as the club president, I have to remind you of the house rules. There are 3. No politics, no wives, and no one sober. Cheers! Peter drank the whiskey in his glass in one go. Whereas we are a refined man, still dressed in our second maroon suit of the day, with the hat and the glasses, as we always are seen in public, of course, and we simply sip our whiskey and savour the flavour. Anton Rain might have the power to make presidential decrees, but I, Peter Vector, the president of this club, now declare this party started. Music, go! The band started up again. After greeting the crowd around me, I felt a hand on my shoulder. Oh, it's Peter. Let me show you around. We walked through the corridors of his mansion. Statues and paintings lined the stark white walls. An arched window provided a view of the neatly manicured grounds, complete with a swimming pool. A grand Lesbian marble staircase led up to the second story. Peter gestured at the massive crystal chandelier hanging overhead. That chandelier was made in the 18th century. Can you believe it? There's even a hedge maze in the garden. Might I ask, Peter, if you don't mind, how exactly are you paying for all of this? I'll let you in on a secret. Gus Manger has a lot of contacts. In real estate, he brokered an amazing price for me. He'll also be here tonight, by the way. Perfect. Yeah, I mean, we do take... We live in a palace. Do we live in a palace? We live in a palace, right? We live in the palace. Can't really. I mean, obviously it's provided. It's the job, isn't it, really? We haven't purchased the damn thing. We are interested in that, and we do want to actually that, but perhaps we'll keep that away from Peter for now and simply say, yeah, what did you promise him in return, Peter? Only my money. We continued walking until we circled back to where we had started. So, what do you think of my little hideaway? This is our friend, by the way, not our vice president, not a member of the council. This is our friend now that we're speaking to, so we shall speak to him as a friend. I mean, yeah, that again was the first thing, honestly, that came to my mind. Hideaway, it's a flipping mansion. Can be seen from miles around, Peter. I mean, it's very nice. Oh, it definitely doesn't rival yours. Anyway, let's get back to the party. I've arranged for some caviar to be brought in from Lesbia. You're going to love it. He opened the door to the main hall, and we rejoined the other guests. The music was louder now, and the mood decidedly more inebriated. Cocktail waitresses were carrying around plates of canapes, wearing dresses that left little to the imagination. Peter, I thought this was a gentleman's club. Would you rather get served by wrinkly old men? Sweetheart, over here. We sigh, roll our eyes, again continue to feel awkward, because as much as we would like to at some point let our hair down, unfortunately we're the president. And like if you're a police officer, for example, they tell you you're never off duty. You know, the eyes are always watching you, so you can never fully switch off. So, one, we will never be seen drunk in public, for a start. Plan for the rest of the week. Right, interesting question. And I was waiting for you to ask, Jam, because I've got an interesting week ahead. So, it's Cheltenham Festival starting tomorrow, and you all know I love the horse racing. So, and it's my favourite 4 days of horse racing of the entire year. Grand National, not for me. Cheltenham Festival, 100% for me. So I'm working half days. So I'm working from 7 until 12 every day for the rest of the week. 2 of the days, Wednesday, Thursday, I'll be in the office, but tomorrow I'm working from home. Friday we'll be working from home too. So I'm doing half days at work, which is great, because I've purposely booked my one-to-ones with my staff for this week, which basically means that I won't have a lot of admin to do. So that should keep me free, because when you work half days, even though it's a half day, you're in. And the tendency is to try to cram a full day's work into a half day, which ends up being really busy. So I thought, if I have my one-to-ones this week, I just have to have conversations with people all day, and that's as much as I need to do. So that's what I've been doing today. I had 4 meetings, but for the rest of it, 7 till 12, and then I'm going to finish at 12, get a spot of lunch, get a nice little drink by my side, maybe rum and coke, perhaps, I don't know, depends how I feel, and enjoy watching the best horse racing in terms of jumps of the year. And hopefully make some pennies as well, because you never know, it always helps, doesn't it? I mean, I've done very well over the past couple of days, as I've been getting a bit of practice in with my strategies, done all right, so hoping to transfer that to the chapter. So that's going to be pretty much the highlight of my week. After Cheltenham has finished at 5:30, tomorrow football's cancelled. So if nothing else springs into my calendar unexpectedly, expect a Baldur's Gate 3 stream tomorrow night. Wednesday I'm playing football for a change, and it's a good job I did play football, because Tuesday's football's cancelled. So thank God I put my name down for Wednesday's football, so that I can get some football in this week. With all the cancellations that are happening lately, it's absolutely ridiculous. But Wednesday's football is at 8 o'clock, so it's a little bit of a late one. But Cheltenham Festival finished at 5:30, so whether I stream Alan Wake from, say, 5:30-ish to 7:30 remains to be seen. It might be a bit tight, though. Thursday's football, but again, same situation with the horse racing, so it kind of limits me to be able to do my pre-football streams a little bit. Friday, I'll be going to my mate's house as usual, and then Saturday, Sunday, it's a bit too far, but nothing's planned. But I've got a holiday prep to do, so I might do some last-minute shopping, get my cases fully packed, all the bits and the bobs sorted, so that I can certainly enjoy me Sunday, Monday without too much panic. It's pretty much my week in a nutshell, really. But we'll see. We'll see if it goes according to plan. Right. Sweetheart, over here, he says. We cringe. We're cringing in our seat or wherever we're standing. Gestures for the waitress to come over. A waitress in her mid-20s, wearing red lipstick, blonde hair, neatly tied into a ponytail. On a plate were toast points slathered in the lesbian caviar Peter had mentioned. Who doesn't love a bit of lesbian caviar? Eh? He is an awful vice president, isn't he? We gathered this several weeks ago. I took a bite. Rich, salty, tasting of pure seaside. I could almost hear the sound of waves and seagulls. Lesbian caviar, best in the world. I'm telling you, Anton, there are few pleasures in life that are this. As the waitress left us to serve another attendee, she flashed a quick smile at Peter over her shoulder. He smiled back a little too broadly. I've had caviar. It's not anything to write home about, I must say. Not the biggest fan, to be fair. Sensual. His eyes were still fixed on her, with an expression I remembered from our many nights out together as students. Oh look, there's Gus. What are you going to talk to him? I'll be back in a minute. Yeah, more for the... yeah, exactly. And you can get different type of caviar. You can get the really, really fine black caviar, which is probably the more traditional caviar. But you can get some kind of caviar that's orange and a bit bigger balls. No, that's proper caviar. No, I'm not sure. It's probably not caviar even. But it's a kind of fish eggy, kind of same thing. But anyway, I've had both, and nah, not the biggest fan. Salmon roe, that's the one. I knew it was roe, some eggy, fishy, eggy thing. No, that wasn't as good. In fact, you're probably right. I think I had those orange bally things in a seafood cocktaily thing. I've had this on, obviously on a cruise. It's the only time I eat these kind of foods. Yeah, I think they were part of a seafood medley thing. Come to think of it, yeah. The caviar is the fine black stuff. I've had that as well on a cruise. Neither of which filled me with much delight, I must say. Although frog's legs, which you may think, oh God, no. I was actually really surprised. They were really tasty. Only had them once in my entire life, and they were delicious, I must say. I mean, they've not much meat on them, like they're like the most skinniest of chicken wings, to be fair. But they were really nice in terms of the coating they put on the flavour. Very garlicky, crusty, herby, crummy thing they put on them. Obviously, they were deep fried. Frog legs and it's like a delicacy. I'm not surprised. They were really quite nice. Anyway, Peter is clearly distracted by damsels serving caviar, and we are going to give him a warning. And I have never... This is really bizarre because, as I've said before many a time, I'm a big seafood fan. I don't like fish. I like white fish, as in plain, tasting, non-fishy fish. Haddock, cod, bassa. That fish, fine. Sea bass, trout, mullet, red snapper, fishy fish, nah, not for me. Not for me. So yeah, not a big fan. And plus, my fish has to be cooked. Any of this raw sushi, seared, you know, not seared. What's the one that you get it in a ceviche? Ceviche? No. Not for me, thank you. So when it comes, but I love seafood. So your lobsters, your crabs, your mussels, your cockles, your crabs. I can be on board with all of that. Delicious. Oysters, though, nah. Can't be on board with them. It's one seafood that can stay away from me, thanks. Peter, I'm warning you, and I am warning you as a friend, not as a president, don't do anything foolish. Stern face, glasses down. Don't, Peter. Warning you. Mistake? What are you talking about? I'm just going to the washroom. See you shortly. If we get wind that he's done anything with that waitress, we are not covering for you. So don't even put me in that position, Peter. He left the room and I headed over to Gus. Sighing heavily, shaking her head. Yeah, Peter is married, yes. Gus was standing next to a couple of men that I recognised as banking industry magnates. As I approached, all of them turned to me and bowed their heads. Ah, Mr. President, a toast to our new member, everyone. Gus and I clinked our glasses as the people around us raised theirs. I heard this mansion is a result of your connections. That's right. I do have a wide network in real estate. Peter told me a couple of weeks ago that you might be interested in potential opportunities such as, well, this. He opened his arms, gesturing at our opulent surroundings. Did he now? Let's take a walk. The balcony has an amazing view of Erleroy. We left the room and made our way to the balcony. On the way, he took out 2 cigars and held one out for me. No, thank you, Peter. No, thank you, Gus. I've stopped smoking. I did tell my son that I was trying to stop, and stop I will, because I am a man of my word. Gus lit up his own and started smoking. We went out to the balcony. All of Earleroy was at our feet. From the vantage point, I was able to see how expansive this building plot was. The swimming pool and the hedge maze were visible from here. Leaning over the railing, I admired the view for a moment, before Gus spoke up. I know you're wondering about the deal Peter made. In a nutshell, thanks to my network, he was able to procure this house for half the asking price, which would have been impossible under any other circumstances. That cheap, huh? That cheap usually comes with some kind of a, something it needs to be repaid or favoured or... You must know that the offered price is not suitable for every client. I would have been delighted to work with you, but unfortunately a deal won't be possible at this time. Not from me or my contacts, at least. Why is that? There have been some issues with my business, Mr. Rain. Nothing life or death, but the hard work I put on the cancelled railway took up so much of my time that I've had to postpone some projects. I'm sure you understand. What are we negotiating for here? Am I missing a trick? I don't want anything to do with any of this. To be honest with you, if he's insinuating here that we want to be part of any of this situation, I'm not interested. I just want stock market tips. That's all I'm interested in, Gus. Any of this property stuff? Not for me, thanks. So I'm assuming that's what we're getting towards, so I'm just going to say, I understand. It's fine. It's fine. Okay. He downed his whiskey. If you excuse me, I will go refresh my drink. See you around. Well, that was fruitful. Not. So as we're enjoying the view of Earleroy, we hear a rustling in the hedge maze below. I looked down and saw a silhouette. Two silhouettes, actually, so close together they seemed to be entangled. I squinted and tried to get a better look. It was definitely two people kissing, but I couldn't see either of their faces. Oh well. Love's young dream and all that. We returned to the party and spent some time mingling with the other guests, engaging them in small talk about their businesses, their children, and their relationships. I realised it had been a while since Peter left. I looked around but couldn't find him. Instead, my eyes landed on Ewald Alfonso. Ah. With a smile, the former president walked over to meet me. Mr. Alfonso, I didn't know you were a member of Peter's little exclusive gentleman's club. I'm not. Gus and I were having a business dinner, and he convinced me to come along afterwards. I saw you speaking to Mr. Manger earlier. Yes, we talked. It's always nice to get to know one's ministers outside of the Maroon Palace. Wouldn't you agree? We had a good chat together back in Narbel, as I recall, resulting in your very wise decision to invest swordish money in Gasson. We're seeing growing interest from international investors, by the way. I'm optimistic about the results of Swordland's investment. Well, I am glad that Swordland could help your company thrive, Mr. Alfonso. And vice versa. Just then, Peter came up from behind us and threw an arm around each of our shoulders. Look at you two, Swordlad's bright future and his ancient past. Way to insult your guests, Peter. My apologies, Mr. Alfonso. My vice president appears to have had a bit too much to drink. Now we are getting a bit sterner, because Peter clearly has done something that he shouldn't do. We got this feeling of that, and we're beginning to get a little bit annoyed. Pardon me, Mr. President, but I've had exactly enough. Well, Mr. Alfonso, have you been enjoying my hospitality? Alfonso smiled politely. Indeed I have, Mr. Vecton. You put together one hell of a gathering. If you'll excuse me, I'm going to have a quick word with the CEO of Swordish Petroleum. Ah, he's here too. What a party indeed. Alfonso gave a brusque wave and walked off. Peter shifted his weight unsteadily. Nice guy. Shitty president, but nice guy. Peter, I'm going to give you one more chance. Where were you? Or if we confront him with the hedge maze, maybe he'd be more inclined to admit it. But no, we're going to give him an open question. Where were you? Peter assumed a patient look. Well, Mr. President, when too much Swordish whiskey meets too much Lesbian caviar, it can lead to a gastrointestinal imbroglio the likes of which the world has never seen. I'll be direct, Peter. Were you with the waitress? Like interview here. What? No. How could you even think that? I'm a married man. Okay. If you say so, Peter. If you say so. But if I flippin' find out through hook or by crook, your life won't be worth living, son. You'll be fired and you'll be divorced. Right. I do say so. Now, who wants a drink? Besides me, of course. He poured us 2 large glasses of whiskey, and we drank them in one go. Behind closed doors, you see. Throughout the party, we drank and drank, just like old times. Oh, clearly we've let our hair down all of a sudden. If you can't beat him, join him, eh? I woke up the next day with a pounding headache and more than a few regrets. Oh dear, Mr. Rain, I was trying to keep you on the straight and flipping narrow. Clearly, Peter is a massively bad influence. My recollections of the evening were hazy, but there was one important detail that kept coming back to me. The red lipstick on Peter's collar. Oh, Mr. Rain. But maybe my memory was playing tricks on me. Or maybe it wasn't. Oh no, Peter. Bloody hell, Peter. Right, it's 10 to 10, so what we'll do is we will go through one more set of briefings. Oh, look! The projection has gone back to a level line. Look at that. Right, we'll do one more turn. So we'll go through one more set of briefings, one more set of news, and then we shall see what's happening in Benfey. And if it's one of those kind of quick, clicky ones, we'll go again because we want to have one more proper thing. And look at this, the highway is almost ready. So we've got BFF and Bluedish education in Berger. Governor Felix Bron reports discovery of Bluedish Freedom Front propaganda in most schools that teach in the Bluedish language. This highlights the BFF's efforts to recruit and radicalise young people in Bluedish majority areas. The government is urged to take immediate action to address their recruitment strategies and prevent further radicalisation of young people. They want to ban the Bluedish language as a primary education language and ask the government to properly enforce the national language of Swordland to everyone. That went well with the religious side of it, didn't it? Education side. HSU fire investigation suspended. Okay, that's taken quite a while to flip in end, hasn't it? That was right at the start of the game. That only just are they struck the cordon down. Hull Sword Post connection to Young Swords. Chief of Police report that the Young Sword sympathisers currently working for the Hull Sword Post. That's the Hull Sword Post and the Radical now that have got issues with Red Youth and Young Sword memberships. Right, here we go. Hull Sword Post. The BFF poisons Swordish schools. This is what we just read. So this bill will no doubt cross our desk at some point and we'll have the option to veto it or not. It's probably going to be one of those jobbies and we will veto it because we're not going to go down that line. They're assuming. I mean, it says propaganda has been found, indicating a sinister effort to radicalise young people. So is it actually inciting? If you've translated it, or is it just, you know, the cat sat on the mat in Bluedish? What are you talking about? It's just Bluedish books for primary kids. Propaganda, my arse. Right, Swordland today. President Rain saves the day. According to the information we have received, President Rain has decided that he will veto the Religious Harmony Bill. The bill itself has the words harmony in it. However, don't be fooled by the name. The proposal prepared by Casaro Kibner took a stab at the heart of the Bluedish populace by banning Bluedish language from being spoken at religious assemblies. If not for President Rain, this bill would have come to pass. Every single Blued should be grateful for the exemplary decision by the President. And progressive investment in rural development. Of course, we went into crop research there, still paying dividends. And police violence in the old capital. After the arrest of the Vice President of the Young Swords cultural centres, a group of teenagers started protesting in front of the Earleroy Police Department, shouting, "Police are fighting for the wrong side!" Within a few hours, a small protest pulled a lot of people to join in, which prompted the police forces to intervene. We, or our cultural organisation, pose no threat to the national security of Swordland or to any other foreign country or state, a protester said, waving a flag of the Kingdom of Swordland. We have not, and do not, plan on engaging in acts of terror or violence. The group has dispersed after the arrival of the riot police. Several arrests were made. And some protesters were beaten up. Many protesters were beaten up. We need to do something about our police brutality. Absolutely need to do something. We've got them all eating out of the palm of our hands. We've got Marcel eating out of the palm. We've got flipping Mr. Alfonso eating out of the palm. We've got bloody Gloria Torre and whatever his face were called. We've got it all sorted. We are a man of the people. Not just the people out there, but the people around us too. We're just a genuine, nice guy. The opening of the Benfey Festival. Oh, this is a great place to end the session, because this is where my wife wanted to deliver a speech. I wonder if she's going to turn up. Oh dear. Our motorcade slowly made its way toward the magnificent Benfey High Arts Centre. Night was falling, and the festival was about to begin. I flipped through the brochure that had been given to us at the hotel. On the front page there was the face of Curtin Lest, Mayor of Enrica. He was a Benfey native who had a long-standing relationship with the city's current mayor and had been personally invited to make tonight's opening speech. This is a guy that we couldn't tick off, right? The Benfey Festival was one of the biggest events of the year. It originally marked the start of the annual religious pilgrimage, a weeks-long journey still undertaken by devout neurists, but today it was better known as a cultural celebration that drew thousands of revellers to the city. There were film screenings, concerts, theatre and dance performances, art exhibitions, and celebrity-studded nightly galas. The opening ceremonies were broadcast on TV and watched by millions. As the car slowed, a coterie of reporters and security guards rushed to meet us, and I turned my attention to Monica. Since I'd refused to let her make the opening speech, her attitude toward me had changed. She now only spoke to me if I asked her a question or if it was something important concerning the children. She's having a strop. It's a very long strop she's having. She'll get over it. Are you still angry? We know she is, but we just can't help it. Wind her up a bit more. It's the kind of thing I'd do, I'm terrible for stuff like this. Probe away with a little wry smile. Come on, you can't stay angry forever. She didn't reply at all. She clearly did not want to pursue this topic any further. Soon as Sergei opened the door, we were enveloped by the roar of the crowd. The next few minutes were a blur of handshakes, photos and reporters' questions. The onlookers cheered as we walked the red carpet to the newly built art centre. We followed the guards through the cavernous white halls until we came to a set of arched doors leading to the auditorium. We waited outside as security did a quick sweep of the area, then headed in. I'd been asked to make a quick set of remarks introducing Curtin Lest. I beckoned Monica to join me on the podium. Talk about rubbing it in. Hey, you can join me on the podium for my opening remarks, love, but you can't talk about women's rights. Mortifying, Anton Rain, how dare you? I'm going to find my seat. Exactly. I don't blame you, love. I'll be exactly in the same mindset. How dare you invite me up here to stand by your side while you give an opening speech, but I'm not good enough to stand up here and give a speech for women's rights. How dare you? Monica brushed past me, took a seat in the front row and crossed her arms. I walked alone to the podium. There's me, devout husband, getting all this cold shoulder treatment, and there's flipping Peter rubbing up the bloody waitress, married man. You want to be thankful, Monica. I spoke for just a minute, reading a paragraph my speechwriter had churned out about the importance of the festival and Benfey to Swordland. I concluded by inviting Curtin Lest, the Mayor of Enrica, to the podium. I stepped down and joined Monica in the front row, her arms still folded. Welcome to the first day of the Benfey Festival. He paused for a moment to let the crowd cheer, and his eyes briefly met mine. We nod. This is a night for the people of Benfey, indeed for the people of Swordland, to put aside their differences and come together in celebration. Yet as we unite for the festivities, we must remember the real reason we are gathered here. The crowd fell silent. The people were giving their full attention to what he had to say. This festival was founded around the principle of our cherished religion, unity. Yet, over the years, it has been severed from its sacred roots and become something else. Something more perverse. Oh no. No, don't start getting on the religious talk, man. An excuse for public drunkenness and grotesque displays of the flesh. An occasion for young women to parade their bodies and engage in lascivious behaviour. As he went on, I could see Monica becoming increasingly agitated. Oh, Jesus. I mean, even I'm feeling a bit awkward right now. What in the hell is he talking about? Lascivious behaviour. What century does he think we live in? I don't know. Just let it be. Monica turned back to watching the speech, a frown on her face. Perversion, hidden under the guise of art, is not befitting the beautiful city of... The crowd was becoming restless. Many of the younger attendees were murmuring in disagreement, while a few of the older ones were nodding vigorously. As I said, perversion, hidden under the guise of art, is not Enough! Oh, God. Okay. The hall fell silent. Monica rose and continued. Mr. Lest, it is not young women who are a disgrace to this fine festival, but you. You and your backwards, puritanical attitudes, which have been holding this country back for far too long. Oh, no. I really doubt we're going to stop her at this point. We may as well just keep our mouths shut. Oh, God. Watch the events unfold like a rabbit in the headlights. Oh, speaking of rabbits in headlights, the most strangest thing happened today. So that's strange, I suppose. Well, it is strange. I was driving down the road, and a car was coming in the opposite direction, and there was a pigeon in the middle of the road. So I'm driving down the road, and, pigeons are supposed to fly away when you're coming out there. You come with your car, they see your car coming, or hear your car coming, they fly off. So I was just driving, not fast, but, relatively, about 20 mile an hour, if that, thinking, the pigeon's not flying. The pigeon's not going anywhere. The pigeon's still not flying. So then I started to slow right down, and then the pigeon, obviously, as my car got literally over the pigeon, it decided it wanted to fly. So it flew from the front of my car, sideways, straight into the door of the car coming the other way. So it just went boom, straight into the side of the car. Feathers flew everywhere. The guy in the car stopped dead because there was a loud bang because the bird flew into the side of his car. I looked in the rearview mirror thinking, oh God, I hope it's not dead. Couldn't see it, so I assumed it must have flown off, or either that or it's bounced somewhere where I couldn't see it. The guy pulled over to the side of the road, clearly probably to check his car, more so than check the pigeon. And I thought, do I stop? Do I not stop? I thought, well, no, carry on. What am I going to do about it? It's not my car. So I just drove off. It's not a reportable accident. There's only certain animals that are reportable. Cattle, horses, asses, mules, pigs, sheep, dogs and goats. If you have an incident with any of those animals, it's reportable. Cats are not on the list, funnily enough. So if you hit a cat, you'd have to report it, and it's not illegal to drive off. Whereas if you hit a dog, it is, along with those other animals listed. Interesting fact for the day. There you go. Yeah, so as we say, we are just watching this happen before our very eyes. No shortage of feral pigeons. Well, my dad used to race pigeons, and my brother still races pigeons. So pigeons have been in this family, I'd like to say, pretty much for 40 years. So, not that I'm a big pigeon fan, but I like all animals pretty much. I wouldn't dream of hurting another creature, apart from a wasp. It's the only creature I'd have to kill if it came anywhere near me. Every other of God's creatures, I'll let them be. Anyway, Monica is now in full flow. She turns to face the audience and speaking loudly enough to be heard without a microphone. Good Lord, she's got away. By hook or by crook she was speaking today, and by crook she's got there. Women of Swordland, we must not let people like Mr. Lest use religion as a justification to demean and oppress us. Our time has come. Shocked gasps ran through the crowd. A few people rose and applauded. Curtis and Lest waited to speak. I think Mrs. Rain is forgetting her place. What do you think my place is, Mr. Lest? The kitchen? This festival is not about your retrograde traditions. We are living in modern times now. It's 1954. And it isn't your place to decide how the people of Benfey, especially the women, should be celebrating their own festival. Carry on, love. I don't disagree with you, actually. And hail, this is quite entertaining. I keep watching in stunned silence. I may be the president, but I'm no fool. When one's wife is speaking, I shall remain silent. Oh yeah, racing pigeons. The whole racing pigeon situation is it's a big thing. It's a big sport, if you want to call it a sport. I don't know why the game just carried on here. The prize money is pretty decent, apparently. And my brother, I'm not just saying it because it's my brother, but my brother is actually one of the top pigeon fanciers in the country. He has got pigeons that are worth thousands of pounds. It is real big business. To the point where he's actually got loads of security where his pigeons are kept. Because, another interesting fact for the day, you can't insure pigeons. If you've got a horse that you race, you know, it's considered a little bit of an investment. And if your horse was to collapse and die, or someone was to nick it, you know, you could claim on your insurance. Pigeons, you can't insure. So, lots of dogs, lots of cameras, and lots of fencing to ensure that the pigeons are not tampered with. But yeah, big business. And like you would imagine, like with horse racing or other forms of racing, lots of things with kind of, you know, different food to feed them, to, you know, like all very much like what's the word? Like scientific, almost like, you know, meticulous with the measures of the food, how much food you should give, what type of food, what type of this, what type of that, and then breeding them. Breeding pigeons is pretty big business too. You know, so if you've got like a champion racing pigeon, which my brother has many. Pictures all over his house of the damn things, cups, you know, trophies all over the damn place. And you want to breed that pigeon with other pigeons. Can you imagine how much you're going to get for... there you go. My star champion racing pigeon has just bred with your little female pigeon, or whatever birds do to mate. That'll be X amount of pounds, please. And pigeons are amazing creatures in terms of you could drop a pigeon off in France, see you later, pal, and before you know it, it's back at your house. How? What? How? But yeah, when it comes to... Oh, don't get me started. Yeah, I like birds, actually. I'm not like a twitcher or anything, but I do think birds are just genuinely amazing creatures. I just look so nice, and birds, and, you know, I would actually have a pet bird at some point. You know, parrots, very clever things, talk. But yeah, corvids, I think that's the technical term. Corvids, which is your ravens and your crows and your rooks, very, very intelligent creatures. Massively intelligent creatures. How did, you know, from my father. My father raced pigeons. My brother, from a very young age, obviously saw my father racing pigeons, took an interest, and took it up himself. Whereas me, I grew up with my father flying pigeons. Was I interested in flying the damn things? No, thank you. Pigeon flying is not for me. No, siree. This is going to sound really horrific, but it's the nature of things. Basically, one of my long-lasting memories. This is any animal lovers, shut your ears now. I tell you. One of my lasting memories of my father involved with pigeons. Obviously, the pigeons were out there in the garden. We had 2 pigeon lofts. Pigeons all over the place, flying, flipping, flapping wings. On race day, he'd be sat at the window waiting for the pigeons to come. As soon as one started to come, he'd rush outside with his can of corn, shake the corn, whistle, whistle, whistle to get them to come in, because you needed to get the ring off the foot and put the ring in the clock to stop the clock, and that was your time. It's now 2024. They've all got GPS chips in them. So when your pigeon goes home, it's timed through electrics. Back in my dad's day, it was all manual, so you had to get the flipping ring off the foot of the pigeon after you got the pigeon home. So the pigeon would be outside. It's come home. Right, the pigeon's here. I've now got to get the ring off that bugger's foot. So if the pigeon is not coming down off the roof when he's calling it, the time's still ticking. Absolute bloody nightmare. But yeah, one of my lasting images was of, because this is so awful, but for whatever reason, whether the pigeon was past its sell-by date, was the loft was overflowing, whatever reason, it's a dog-eat-dog world, and it's a cutthroat business, was of my dad sticking a pigeon's head on the gatepost and whipping out his machete. And I'll leave it there. You can imagine what comes next. And I was looking out of the bedroom window, thinking, what's he doing? Not pleasant. Scarred me for a little while, I must say. Yeah, poor little bird. Anyway, I don't know what happened. I don't know if he got a disease or something had happened. I don't know. I was only young. I didn't ask. Why did you chop his head off? Anyway, Curtain Lest is piercingly gazing at me. There would surely be a price to pay for this. It's not me, it's my wife. Or maybe he's upset at the fact that I didn't try to get her down and put her in a place. Mr. President, could you please control your wife before she embarrasses herself any further? Do you know what? In for a penny, in for a pound. It'd have been less of a car crash if we'd have just let our wife speak in the first place. Now this has happened. The whole thing's gone tits up. Do you know what, Curtin? My wife is absolutely correct. Monica looked at me, surprise registering on her face. Oh yeah. Thank you, Anton. I turned to Curtin. Do you know what? I've already spoke with Gloria Tory. I've already spoke with with all the people I need to speak with. I don't think this incident is going to cause too much when it comes to the constitutional reform. So you're going to get it both barrels, Mr. Curtin Lest, if you don't mind. Ooh. Ooh. Your task was to give an opening speech, not a moral lecture. Do you know what? We're standing by our wife. We are a family man after all. And we agree. This was not the place to push your agenda, sir. I will finish my speech if you'll allow it, Mr. President. That's up to the people of Benfey, I would suggest, isn't it? I turned around to look at the crowd. The people immediately started booing Curtin. Come on, my people. He ignored them and continued with his speech. Benfey has always been a beacon of culture, tradition and religion. Many battles have been fought over this precious city. Army after army has tried to claim it for their own, but we fought back and won each time. We stand here thanks to the strong men who were able to protect their families, their lands, and their way of living. Every day I praise God that we have succeeded so far. Scattered applause broke out from some of the older members of the audience. I leaned over to Monica. Give her a gentle dig. I praise God that he's only allowed to speak for another 2 minutes. Monica stifled a short laugh. Ah, there she is, my Monica, back again. Yet the traditions that form the very fabric of our society are being tested, even as I speak. If he starts again, I'm cutting this speech short. He looked pointedly at Monica. We must stay true to our values so that Swordland can prevail, so that Benfey can prevail. With these at the forefront, I am convinced that Swordland will continue to be the greatest nation in the world. I invite every single one of you to celebrate our roots and our traditions at this holy Benfey Festival. I hereby declare the festival open. Praise God, praise Swordland, praise Benfey. A Magna West Corps, Vectern Sis Da. Most of the people in the hall finished the decades-old saying, including me. Monica's lips moved, but she didn't say the words out loud. He exited the stage as the band struck up the official festival anthem. I spent the rest of the evening alternately watching the festivities and conversing with local politicians. By the time we got back to the hotel, I was exhausted. But thanks to the festivities still raging outside, and the sound of Monica tossing and turning beside me, I couldn't sleep at all. Oh, I enjoyed that. That was pretty cool. Right, I think this is a good place to end. It's 10:15. We've got more things to read, which I'll read off camera. We'll just check the news quickly. Did that make the news? No. Geopolitical. Valen deploying special forces to Vernon. City of Vernon's been put under curfew, along with several other towns of the northeast of the country. Armies deployed, specially trained military forces, to combat the militant organisation known as the Bluish Freedom Front. It's starting to fight fire with fire, it seems. Lots of military efforts to take down the BFF militants. It's getting a bit dicey. What have we got to look forward to next session? Downtime at home. That's pretty cool. Spend time with the wife and kids. And three things, which we'll quickly read because in the next session we can start straight away at our little home gathering. So, refugees of Vernon. So, we've got refugees fleeing the forces towards our border, which means that we should really welcome them with open arms. Did the growth line decrease slightly? I don't think so. Did it? I don't think so. I think it's the same as the last turn. I think so, anyway. Governor of Berger reports hundreds of BFF collaborators living inside Dare, posing a significant threat to national security. Measures have been proposed, increased surveillance, intelligence gathering, as well as the deployment of additional security forces to the area. So this is a thing that I really don't like. He's got this extra authority, and he doesn't need the approval of central government to bring them into effect. I wonder if we can curb that in the future. The governor's also suggested that community members be encouraged to report any suspicious activities or individuals. Civil liberty violation. And it is recommended that the government follow the actions of the governor closely and ensures he does not violate his authority of the governor as the special zone. Power grabbing, indeed. I think that's going to come to a head pretty soon, I think. Protest and looting in Nargis. Mostly under control. But it does continue. But the widespread unrest and riots that we had, national security threat. Laren is a national security threat. That's something new. I didn't know that's new. I think off camera I'll go through all of the cities and see if there's any updates to any of the statuses that is of particular interest. So Laren is on the border, of course, with Rumberg, and that's the issue, you see. Bit of a risk area. But anyway, there you go, folks. It's time to end. So another fantastic session in terms of my enjoyment of the game. I think it's absolutely fantastic. It really is. I'm just trying to think when the next session of this is going to be. I'll see. I might have to squeeze in a couple of recorded sessions because my ability to stream this week is restricted to Tuesday, tomorrow, and then that might be just about it. Until Sunday possibly, so I'll have to get some recorded sessions in. I really must this week, which I should be able to between the horse racing finishing and me going to football. So even if I can't do a proper stream, I can at least do maybe a private stream that I can just upload at a later date, or a recorded session or something, because I do want to make some more progress with this game, particularly in addition to updating some of the other ones too. So that's for me to worry about. But all you need to worry about tomorrow is Tuesday. It's potentially, I'd say 85% certain it's going to be Baldur's Gate. There's always a risk that something might pop into my diary, but yeah, I'm aiming to stream some BG3 tomorrow. And if I seem to recall, we left off where we were just about to enter a shady area where we were going to have to engage in some combat. I seem to recall, in the bowels of the Moonrise Towers. Nothing like starting a session with a bang, right? But anyway, go forth, enjoy the rest of your time. Thank you once again for joining me this evening and keeping me entertained for 3 hours and helping out with certain little bits and bobs. And hopefully see some of you for BG3 tomorrow. But otherwise, enjoy the rest of your evening. Enjoy the week ahead, and until next time, I'll see you soon.